The moment has arrived.
The red light is on.
I'm sorry?
I'm Dave Van Auken.
Maddie Levine here.
Ruthless one, Elle Dawson.
Hey guys.
The heart and soul of the show, Ryan Quinn.
Happy to be back, like you said.
Gillian the Savage Robertson.
Boom! I'm Jonathan Ramlakan. We got Bree Eckert.
Hey guys.
We got my boy Blake here.
Hello, people of the interweb.
The Fight Bananas Show, every Tuesday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Bananas YouTube channel.
Yeah, it is. Happy Tuesday. What's up, Dave?
What's up, Miss Maddie Levine? How are you?
I'm good. Dave Van Auken in the house. Maddie Levine in the house because it is the Fight Bananas Show. Let's go. How we feeling today?
Dude, I feel great. I'm not going to lie. This is by far, I am a Christmas guy. I know it might be like it sounds cliche or whatever. I love Christmas. The kids love Christmas. And I think I've always been a Christmas guy. And now with having 4 kids, it's like so much more. Like it's so big. Huge pay-per-view this weekend in the UFC. Your husband, Ross Levine's in Las Vegas, about to try to win another championship for karate combat. Like, I can't even keep myself in. I got commentary at Island Fights this week. Like, Maddie, I'm ready. Like, I am ready.
We are booked and busy. Like, let's go. I'm excited for this card this weekend. It's either going to be, actually, you know what? I know it's going to be pandemonium. There's way too many personalities on one fight night.
Yeah.
That it's going to be ridiculous. Super excited about that. But before we get into that, I am just so overwhelmed by the amount of Christmas stuff that's going on. I know you said you're already done shopping.
Oh, yeah, we're done.
You're done. Let's see if Elle is done. Hi, Elle.
Hi.
Elle.
Not even close.
Not even close with done? No. Have you even started?
Yes, I'm almost. I guess that's not true. I'm almost done.
Good.
I have like 4 more people.
Yes.
That need to be
because it's crunch time, man. It's freaking crunch time.
What's Grant's big present?
I mean, you can't say it here.
It is not Fight Bananas appropriate day.
Ooh, very cool. Love that. Love that. I don't know.
Said bye.
2 weeks in a row, Elle. 2 weeks. I can't even talk to you anymore.
I'm a married woman, Dave.
I love it.
Man. You're like my little sister that I never had, and just 2 weeks in a row, you've like went there with me. It's like
she's a grown ass woman.
I'm
Dave.
not a good liar. I couldn't think of anything on the spot to just throw out there, so I was like, "Oh, well, you asked." So
I love all of this.
Like I got Susie like a Copper Line $20 gift card. That's what I guess. That's what 10 years of marriage and kids will do. Like,
listen,
she's gonna love it. She's gonna be so happy.
I need to know. Speaking of last week, I need to know if you've listened to any Doja Cat since last week.
I YouTubed one thing because it's so funny. I literally just talked to Susie about this, and she even said, she's like, Dave, you got to know like what's up a little bit. I was like, dude, I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. I'm like, this one caught me a little off guard, not gonna lie, but I've always been super honest on this show, even on picks and just what I'm thinking and stuff. I didn't know. So yeah, she's like, you got to be better. I'm like, okay, I'll be better.
Do better.
Yeah.
Do better.
She's like, do better. I'm like, all right.
I love it. I love it. Holidays are here, which is crazy. I'm like, it's kind of embarrassing that it's December 12th and it still doesn't really feel real. But that's okay. I'm just thinking about like all of the festivities going on, and you have kids, so it must be way more fun.
1 second, if I could just real quick to Kyle. Dude, the channel is old, but our YouTube got hacked, my man. Like, our old YouTube got hacked. This is like a brand new YouTube account, but we're also on Facebook. So check us out, Kyle. You know, what's up? We have PG Pro Gonzalez coming on in 10 minutes. We got Gillian the Savage Robertson coming on in an hour. We got McDojoLife coming on an hour and a half. It's be a packed show, 2 hours live, nonstop. There you go, Kyle. You're welcome.
Do you remember what I asked you?
Yeah, it says something about kids and
how the holidays are way more fun with kids.
I would say yes. It has its for sure pros. Last night we went to St. Augustine and did this whole lights and walked around everything. And yeah, for sure. Like they are so like, wow. And like, the word I'm going to steal is like, they wonder, like they are so like in wonder of Christmas and how pumped they are and like how excited they are. So for sure you get that as a father. And like when there's anything can happen to me in life. Like the best thing that can happen to me, and it's awesome. But if something great happens to one of my kids, it's such a better feeling. It's like so much better that they are happy. Right. So yeah, it's a great time, and we're traveling a lot. We're seeing a lot of family members. It's my favorite time of the year for sure. So we love it.
Are you guys watching a lot of holiday movies?
Nonstop. We got Disney Plus
Nonstop.
nonstop, 24
Yeah.
on a wheel.
Well, I am super freaking disappointed in the holiday lineup this year because I feel like every time I turn on the TV, it's Home Alone, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else, and I'm just like, I'm a Christmas movie girl, love them to death, but like, I don't know, I'm just disappointed in this year. There's like not many good ones on.
Which if something popped on, so we'll kind of get into this right now. We'll get into it. But if you're on TBS or if you're on YouTube TV and a Christmas movie pops on, which movie are you not changing the channel for? You're like, oh, this is on, I'm watching it.
So I would be watching it if I saw it?
Yeah. Halfway through,
honestly, like all of them. Like I love Christmas movies, and even like Home Alone, I've probably watched it like 3 times already, and I'm still just like, I'll watch it again. I'll watch it again. Like I just can't help it. They just like, it's like that feel good shit. You know what I'm saying?
I have a hot take. We just did it recent because the Dylan, the middle, who's like 6, he's kind of getting into Home Alone. Like this is his first year. Like he's all in with Home Alone. So we watched Home Alone 1 and 2, like right back from each other, both on Disney Plus, and we just let them run right on a Saturday before the fights, of course. Dude, Home Alone 2 is really underrated. Like Home Alone 2 is amazing. Like
Lost in New York, hell yeah,
dude, it's so good. Like it is so good. Home Alone 1 is a top 5 Christmas movie of all time to me, but Home Alone 2 is right there, like right there.
Dave, the ultimate hot take is Home Alone is not a Christmas movie. The only thing, I'm just saying, I love Home Alone and I will watch it during Christmas time. But if you really think about it, the only thing that makes Home Alone a Christmas movie is that like Christmas is going on during the movie. Other than that, it's just a kid setting booby traps. Like,
that's
kind of really think about it, it doesn't have a whole lot to do with Christmas.
I'm trying to think if they even have a Christmas scene, because I know in Lost in New York, the second one,
tree.
they
like,
have
the beginning of it is like they're having a Christmas party. It's like Christmas Eve because the next day they're traveling right on Christmas or something like that.
Yeah, but like that's like 2 minutes of the movie.
Okay,
the rest of the movie is just a kid like hanging out at his house alone.
It really is a good point.
And there's no like magic of Christmas lesson. Like if you really think about it, like his family kind of sucks. And at the end, his family still kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's not like at least like my one of my top ones is The Grinch.
Okay,
and
so
like, The Grinch is like the ultimate like feel good.
Yes, we
like,
have to do this.
Love.
We need
like
to
the
rate
reason for the season.
We need to rate these movies, okay? Because this is a very, very important take. I know it's not MMA, but I do not care. This is what's most important in life right now is to rate these holiday movies best to worst. Okay.
Ooh.
So I wish there was a way to display it so we could all remember them. But
we need a list.
I know. I wonder if I can put it in the comments here. So let's see. We're gonna type this out.
Yeah, try to type that out. And when you do, because I have a big question. I have a big thing. When you guys, okay, Elle, when you say The Grinch, because now I'm a little bit, huh?
Oh yeah, no, I know which one.
Yeah, okay.
Jim
There's
Carrey.
the original cartoon, which is so amazing, like the original. Then to me, the Jim Carrey one, absolutely love it. Like we can talk into this. The Jim Carrey is amazing. But then I don't know if it doesn't get enough love. The new one that looks like very Pixar-y with Benjamin Cumberbatch or Cumberbatch, say this name correctly. Cumberbatch, Sour Patch Kid, whatever. Like that one's amazing too. Like that one's really, really good. And my kids love the new one. Like they love it. They love the new one and the original. Oh my goodness. Amazing, Maddie.
Okay, here we go.
You're missing some of the best ones.
I know, but these were the only ones I can think of right off the bat, okay? So Home Alone, The Grinch, any of the claymation specials, Elf, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That one, okay. All right, I'll go first. Oh crap, I shouldn't have gone first. Okay, so I'm gonna go with any of the claymation specials at number 1. Just because nostalgia makes me feel all fuzzy inside, and it's just great. So that's number 1. Number 2, Elf. Number 3, the Jim Carrey's Grinch. 4 National Lampoon, 5 Home Alone. I'm putting Home Alone last out of those. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
So where's the Grinch? Can we do all 3 Grinches as one? Are we doing 3 separate?
That's acceptable. That's acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like you should specify which Grinch is your favorite. Because I agree, Jim Carrey's Grinch is the go.
It's the best.
Elite. Yes.
It's the go. I'm not doing this list. I have my own list. All right, number 1.
List.
Number 1 is Elf. I love Elf. I will never get tired of Elf. I love Will Ferrell. Dave hates us. Dave does not like Elf, very clearly. He's making it very clear. But Elf is like my number 1. Number 2 isn't even on the list. Number 2 is A Muppet's Christmas Carol.
Oh, get out of here.
Well, that's a good movie. That's a really good movie.
Is amazing.
Good movie.
Amazing movie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then next, I would probably go Jim Carrey's Grinch. Okay. Then I would go any of the claymation. I pretty much just like Rudolph.
There you go, Sam.
Like my only claymation Christmas movie I'm like, that's my go-to. And then, man, I don't even know if I have a 5. Probably Home Alone.
Yeah, you got to put it on there.
Or A Nightmare Before Christmas, because to me,
I was just going to say that. Where's Nightmare Before Christmas? So
okay,
that's a Christmas movie.
We could do a whole episode on how that's not a Christmas movie and it's a
that's
Halloween
more of a Christmas movie than Home Alone.
That's true.
Unbelievable. All right,
Dave, your list. Go.
Number 1, The Grinch, Jim Carrey, the greatest Christmas movie of all time. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. I've seen that, no lie, 300 times. Done it.
Yeah.
I was a teenager. Like, I was like my prime. I think I drove to the movies. Like, that is amazing. Watched it 100 times.
Stop aging yourself, David.
Stop aging yourself.
God.
I said that. God, we had a good copper line, Susie and I was like, dude, I can't have like these long conversations with just Elle and Maddie. Like, they just make me feel like an old uncle. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
How old are
Grinch,
you, Maddie?
number 1.
I'm 30.
I want to give the Grinch, Pixar, the new one, just want to give it some love. But number 2, you guys made it number 5, both of you. Home Alone 1 and 2 as a package is number 2. So good. So good. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, like, I'm gonna do. I'll do a little bit of like that old school. That we love the Charlie Brown one. That's a hit at our house.
Yes, the Charlie.
Yeah, the Charlie Brown's amazing. And then like with the claymation, like the Muppets is a great one. Even Mickey Mouse has a good one. It's kind of like a TV show Christmas one. That's amazing.
Get down with that.
But there's 2 that you guys totally miss, and I'm guessing I'm gonna number it number 4. The thing that we watch the most at our house now, because 10, 11-year-old son, 6-year-old son, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special is amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I've totally forgot. Elle, you have to.
I did not know this is a thing. Guardians is like my favorite Marvel.
I got the soundtrack on my phone right now. It's amazing. Like,
I think it came out last year.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon sings the whole time.
Yeah,
Kevin Bacon's in it.
Yeah,
Sam over here in the comments.
Yeah,
Polar Express is the worst Christmas movie of all time.
Sam, we love you, but Polar Express.
I'm sorry, Sam.
It stinks.
You're just wrong. It's so boring.
Number 5, not on the list again. Jingle All the Way. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad. Great movie, guys. Great
movie.
God,
Sinbad.
I've never seen that movie.
Does not make my list.
Seen that.
Elf stinks. It's overrated. It's like one of Will Ferrell's worst movies ever.
What?
Get the fuck out. Get out.
No, Elf is amazing.
How do I turn off your camera? Goodbye, sir. Goodbye. Goodbye. See you later. You are off the show. Just kidding.
Sam agreed with you for Jingle All the Way. He's wrong about Polar Express, but Jingle All the Way is acceptable.
Are you hiding your kids' presents in your office?
Santa Claus has to hide them.
Oh, Victor, this is a good one too. 8 Crazy Nights.
I haven't seen that.
That is a good one. Good job, Vic.
Yes. This is an Adam Sandler animated comedy, and it's good. It is
funny. It's funny. That's a good one.
Good. I love that.
What's the one with Vince Vaughn? That's a pretty good one.
Oh, Fred Claus?
No. I think you're right. The 4 Christmas one, the sappy one. I think
isn't Jennifer Aniston I've seen that either.
Oh, with Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, dude, Reese Witherspoon, good one. Another amazing one. If you're older, like us old people like it, Love Actually with Hugh Grant. Amazing.
That's
Christmas
a great movie.
Like I cried 3 times. 3 times.
Is that a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay. I wasn't sure.
That's definitely more of a Christmas
Yeah,
movie.
4 or 5 different stories all around Christmas with different things
I
that they
wasn't
sometimes
sure if
intertwine.
we did a tangent from like Christmas movies to rom-coms like real quick. I was like,
No, Love Actually is a good movie. I watched
Okay.
that on the plane when we were coming back from Vegas this last time. That's a good movie.
oh, speaking of Vegas, guess who goes to Vegas in like literally 48 hours? I'm losing my mind. Yes, I'll be in Vegas.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Karate Combat. Let's
Yes,
go.
for the first
Robert's
time. This is
fighting
my
for a damn
first
championship.
This is the first time I've ever gone to Vegas. I've never really honestly, I've never really wanted to. Not really my cup of tea. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a clubber. Like I'm not,
Maddie, I'm not either, but the food.
Oh, really?
The food.
Okay.
The best.
Yes.
Okay.
The best food in
You
Vegas.
will love the food.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's
better
good
than
to
New
know.
York, Charleston, California. The
Ooh,
food in Vegas is
ooh,
amazing now.
I don't know if it's
a
better
real
than
thing.
New York. I don't know. We'll see.
telling you.
We'll see. We'll see.
Ooh,
Anybody
Nick.
watch Sam Alvey's most recent post? Ooh, let me go watch it.
I did.
Can we
And
like,
Sam
put it on
Alvey
the
is
screen?
going to get knocked the out. He's
Wait,
talking
yeah.
trash. He's
Wait.
talking trash. He's like
Sam
the new
Alvey?
Colby Covington. Sam Alvey's the new Colby Covington.
Okay, I
Watch
have
it,
to-
Maddie.
Can we put it? Is that a thing? Is there
I'm
a way?
gonna hold on. Let me share my screen and I'm gonna live watch this right now.
We're going to live watch this, dude. How?
Yeah.
Yes.
This
Let's
is
see.
the best fucking show on the goddamn
Let's
internet.
see.
I'm
What would we
sorry.
do without Maddie?
Well, let's see. I hope this
Show
is
didn't
right.
exist without her.
Whoa, that's not correct.
That's trippy.
How do I do this here?
I think you have to.
Dude, make sure your screen's okay there, Maddie. Levine. I want Elle Dawson's
No,
mind.
Let's go.
Tabs. Yeah, maybe open the tab first, so it's
Okay.
not like a.
Okay, yeah.
And then
Maybe if I
Oh,
do
this is
that.
so good. Oh my gosh. We got Pearl Gonzalez coming on any minute too, by the way. He said
Green.
sparred with Curtis for 45 minutes. I know. Who spars one round for 45 minutes? Come on.
Oh wait, I
Sam.
think I got it, guys. Can you see this?
Don't lie to us.
yes. Let's
Can you see
go.
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is amazing.
All right,
This
here we
is
go.
so cool.
All right, this is a picture. Is it this?
Nope. He's talking to the camera. No, the next one.
This one?
Yeah, right there. Here we go.
So I fight on Friday with Karate Combat, and you can watch it on karatecombat.com. And sometimes fight week, you wake up like, oh, it's fight week. I got so much weight to lose. I did not wake up that way this morning. I feel freaking great. I went and I sparred Chris Curtis for it was about 45 minutes. It was one round of 45 minutes. It was so much fun. I am ready for this. This feels great. You can tune in and you watch if you want to come and watch the fight. It's in Las Vegas. Otherwise, go to karatecombat.com and you can watch it for free. It's on their YouTube page as well. Thank you for the support, guys, and I'm going to win this belt.
All right, where's the crap talk?
5 minutes?
He said he's going to win the belt. That's the new Colby Covington.
I mean, I was expecting some serious trash.
Yeah,
talk.
you made it. You oversold it, Dave. You oversold it.
Yeah,
That was
that was not.
Maybe
no.
I watched it and I boiled up a little bit. Maybe I got
I'm
a little
literally
personal.
fuming right now, and that was like nothing. I'm ready to attack.
I love Dave's loyalty to our husbands, Maddie.
Oh yeah,
but you oversold that one.
Oh yeah, no, it's incredible. Honestly, like Sam Alvey is such a nice person. And I think it's genuine. Like I think he's genuinely that nice of a person. But I think there's also levels to it, and like Ross and I have talked about it in depth. And it's like, and Ross said it on this podcast himself. Like he does this thing where he like kind of lures you in of like, yeah, I'm super nice. Don't worry about it. We're buddies. And then he knocks people out. So it's like, fuck you and your entire family. We'll be friends after. Like, we'll be friends after. Not right now though. Because right now, like literally, I will fight you. Like Ross isn't the only one fighting this week. We are fighting, bitch. Like I don't give a shit.
The whole Fight Bananas team. The banana fan.
I'm in it.
Dude, I'm so fired up. But it's gonna be so fun.
Dude, I'm commentating Friday night. I might take Dean might take the private jet to Vegas. We've already discussed this thing. We're talking about it.
Dean has a private jet.
Come pick a girl up on the way.
Seriously.
Jorge's in Qatar. He's like in a Qatar. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Quater.
He went to
messed
the
that up.
or something.
Dude, Mr. Joseph is back.
Hey, Dad.
What's up,
Hey, Dad.
Dude, he's
God.
the best.
I love it.
Dude, you should be super thankful that your amazing dad helps and supports and watches you.
I am very thankful.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Right, so
Let's
real quick, the Grinch is the best. Elf is overrated. Jingle All the Way is awesome too. That's such a good one too. There's just like,
can we all agree that the Polar Express sucks?
Yes.
Okay.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
And like that was Tom Hanks in his prime. Like, what was Tom Hanks thinking?
That was when CGI was like brand spanking new.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that as a kid. I think I was a kid, and just being like, is this real? Like, what am I looking at? Like being so confused by like the CGI type stuff. Yeah, I remember that. But now it's
I was
like
buying my second house during that movie came out. Gee whiz.
That's hilarious. What year did that come out? Polar Express.
Damn, good one, Sam.
Year 2004.
That was 2004. Oh,
that was 2004.
Yeah, I really was buying a house. True story.
Good for you.
I was in 4th grade.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. We gotta
love you, Dave.
Dude, our conversations. If I'm telling you, our conversations off air. If we could somehow record them and get them into like a private chat that people will pay money on it. What is it called? Like,
OnlyFans.
That would be the best OnlyFans.
Yeah, Elle's conversation could be OnlyFans. Jesus.
Oh, stop that.
Easy, Elle.
Not that bad. Don't you make me sound so bad.
Seriously. Guys, I mean, it's bittersweet, but it's sad. This is our last show of the year.
I know.
Like, this is really, like we're wrapping up 2023 with like, some solid content.
Yeah.
2024. We're coming out swinging, bro.
Big stuff.
So exciting. It's going to be great. So, make sure you're following along on Fight Bananas everywhere. Our new YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Instagram. We're always doing stuff. And 2024 about to be cray. But before we get to 2024, we do have some fun guests coming in. Pearl Gonzalez, I think, is still coming in. So hopefully, in a few minutes she'll join us. But I was thinking we could do some recaps of the year. I have some best ofs that we should talk about. Do you want to get that started, Dave?
Yeah, bring it. It can be they call it a thread in the business throughout the whole show. Like we can keep going back and forth, asking guests. We can ask Gillian, we can ask Pearl, we can ask McDojoLife, we can ask anyone. And it's always live. You never know. Anyone could just pop up at any time. It could just happen. We could have Moyo Kano, who's just about to fight Drew Dober. He could just pop in. Who knows? I don't know.
That's awesome. So looking into the past year, we've had some crazy fights, some standouts, some upsets. If you were to pick your best fighter of 2023, who are you picking, Dave?
To me, this one's the easiest one. They have been a lot of great fighters. I can think of some just off the top of my head. There's a guy named Grant Dawson, amazing fighter. Gillian Robertson is an amazing fighter. So is Ross Levine. Ross Levine had a walk-off knockout. Amazing fighters. But the fighter of the year, guys, is Sean Strickland. He fought twice. Yeah. He got 2 finishes. He defeated Israel Adesanya in the main event for the middleweight championship. The fighter of 2023 is Sean Strickland. Like there's other great ones, but to me, this is clear cut. And if anyone wants to debate this, we will debate it.
Well, I didn't pick him.
I didn't either.
Elle, you
wow.
I think that there's obviously Sean Strickland had some amazing moments, and he is definitely a contender for fighter of the year. But if you look at like Islam dismantling Volkanovski, and obviously he's one of the most obvious choices, but it just feels silly to give it to somebody else after what Islam just did to Volk.
Yeah.
A second time.
So if Grant Dawson beats up a flyweight, is he the fighter of the year? We know Grant's great at lightweight.
But Charles as well. He demolished Charles too.
Not 2022.
Not this year.
2022. He fought twice, and he fought Volkanovski both, who's the greatest featherweight of all time. He's not a lightweight.
But he was also at the time the number 1 pound for pound fighter. That's where it gets dicey because yes, he's the smaller guy, but I think we can argue that Volkanovski beats a lot of lightweights, just not Islam.
Okay.
Well, before we let our next guest in, I guess I'll give mine because it's not either of those.
Is that either of those two?
It's not either of those. I went, it's kind of like recency bias, but I don't give a fuck. It's Tom Aspinall. And the reason I chose him was because just of the feels that he gave the MMA community by winning that fight on 2 weeks' notice. And just like the Cinderella story of it all. Now, I'm going to keep to the side the stupid question he asked. What was it, Nina, the MMA reporter?
So weird.
It was the weirdest moment in MMA history.
Yeah.
That aside, besides his injury loss with Curtis, he's been dominating. He's been dominating his opponents. He's kind of redefining what it means to be a heavyweight. He's so fast. He's got an incredible IQ. And then to have that Cinderella moment of like dedicating it to his dad and like showing just like he's ready to go for the future. I was like, all right, you got a fan in me. I'm going to give it to you. Is it recency bias? Kind of, but that's okay.
I think those are all great arguments.
I think those three are solid.
I think there's one great one and two decent ones, but talking about being solid, talking about being amazing and dynamic. One of my commentary partners I love doing, we will be together Friday night in Pensacola doing island fights. Always love talking to her. I talked to her. She's like a little bit of a mentor, a great friend. I'm talking about the one and only Pearl Gonzalez.
Hello.
PG. Look at all Christmassy.
I know.
Look at that setup, girl.
Always. Yes. It's finally I finally have a house and I'm able to decorate, and this is definitely something I love to do. So I have to show it off.
Yes.
What's your favorite Christmas movie right off the rip? What's your go-to Christmas movie?
Me and Nick just watched it. We watched Home Alone. Like 2 days ago, I went over to his house and we watched it. And it was like the best night ever. I was like, this is the best night ever. I got a blanket, and we were like, it was
that's
fun
the best.
Too, so.
That's the best. That's such a nice setup. We'll reel you into this game that we were just playing. We were rating these movies. Can you see these movies?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you obviously rated Home Alone first.
Yes.
Where would you put the rest of these?
Okay, so Grinch is good. I think Elf is definitely going in front of Grinch. Then Grinch. And then maybe Clay. I don't know the last two.
Really?
No.
Well, the claymation
specials is like the Charlie Brown or Rudolph or Frosty, like the old school,
like the stop motion ones.
Yeah.
Okay, that goes before Grinch. I mean, that definitely goes.
Yeah, I respect that.
Classic.
Those are classics.
Yeah, so good.
I love it. I'm so glad you could join us, and your setup looks fantastic. Where are you joining us from?
I am in Pensacola, Florida, is where I reside now.
Florida, got you.
Yes.
Much warmer than Rhode Island.
It's actually been kind of cold here. I'm fighting a cold myself, but it's been like in the 40s here. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, wow. My gosh! Absolutely not. That's terrible.
It's been cold here for South Florida, and I was like, it's like 60, and I think that's cold. So yeah, 40s is super cold for Florida.
Yeah, that's 60s in Miami, huh? That's really cold.
We got a couple really windy, like chilly days. It's been kind of weird.
Interesting.
Well, I know you're working with Dave this weekend, but before we get into that, I want to talk to you about Power Slap, because I know at the beginning of the year, you were saying how you want to be a champ for Power Slap. Is this true?
Yeah, I am one of the pioneers of the women branching out into various different professional combat sports. I've always done that. I've always kind of been the first to step into unknown zones. And no one from my sport, no one from boxing or MMA has done Power Slap yet. No women, really. There's been the one women's fight we just saw. But I love it. I love the idea of it. What makes it interesting to me is you have to create this power. You have to figure out and learn how to generate power with both feet flat on the mat. You're squared off, so you don't have much room for a hinge or for a pivot. So you really have to understand your distance, your accuracy, obviously, and how do you generate this power without using big movements? And that to me is just It's interesting. It's very interesting. And the second part about it is I don't think that these athletes, power slap athletes, are really utilizing the sport to the best of their ability. When you get slapped and when you get hit, you're probably going to go down. That's something you kind of have to accept. But when they go down, they're not like utilizing the 8 count like you would, like a boxer would. Right. A boxer, he sits down, they breathe, they recompose themselves, and then they stand up right when they get near the end of the count. And these athletes in power slap are just like sitting straight up. They're not going to their side and doing a technical get up. They're not utilizing every second. And so I just think that there is a beautiful window of opportunity for me to kind of, one, just figure out and play with it and see what happens there, but also two, to utilize my skills and my knowledge in combat sports and become a champion over there.
I love you bringing in that piece of knowledge over from boxing. I feel like bare knuckle boxing is starting to enter this season, because it's such a new sport as well, where we're seeing a lot more strategy coming into it, and we're seeing people developing their own fight IQ for boxing. Do you think that this is that season for power slap, where it's going to go from just being a slap contest to a more strategic sport?
I think it's more than just a slap contest already. I think that these are real athletes. I think that you do have to train for this. And what makes it interesting is how boring, quote unquote, this can be. It's slapping a bag, doing the same repetitive movements. Not too many people in this world can do the same repetitive, monotonous shit every day in and day out. And that is what really defines the greats from the rest, is their ability to focus on these little techniques and little areas. I think that the sport is so new, and to your question, the sport is so new and it's in its infancy phase, that there is so much room of opportunity to grow, to evolve, to like be a trendsetter in that sport. And so I think that with the same with bare knuckle is coming around. At first it was just like a tough man sport, and now you do have real athletes, real fighters, that former UFC champions that are now entering into the squared circle. So you have no choice but to level up and increase the technical ability of these athletes. And what's interesting with bare knuckle is there's a lot more grappling in it than you really think about it. There's tons of clinch work, there's dirty boxing, and that makes that sport so interesting because of that reason. Yes, there's boxing, traditional boxing, and that mindset, but at the same time, this is also for grapplers. So I don't know. I think that it's just this is the beauty of the sport, man. This is what I love, is to watch these sports evolve, to watch these trendsetters step in and kind of go into the unknown and find success or fail.
Pearl, you just mentioned power slap. Elle, you just mentioned bare knuckle boxing. Of course, someone very close to you and I, and we've seen with Jorge Masvidal and Dean Toole doing game bred bare knuckle MMA. Would you like, to me, because when I first remembered your name or heard your name years and years ago, pioneer of the sport of MMA, like, to me, when I thought of you, you were a jits girl. You were a great grappler. And bare knuckle MMA, and we've seen it, there's so much grapple, and of course you can submit people on the ground, and then of course your boxing skills are amazing now. Like, it's so perfect for you. Have you thought, or have you talked to the matchmaker there, Dean Toole, about a game bred bare knuckle MMA fight?
I did. I've been bugging Dean Toole for a fight there, but he doesn't want to fight me, so that's fine. I think that bare knuckle is very interesting because of the aspect that there is no gloves involved. That makes your jiu-jitsu game very different in MMA. So that is very exciting over there. And then, yes, it's bare knuckle, which a lot of people don't understand how that devastating it is. Like, when you hit someone's skull, when you hit bone and your knuckles start to open up and you feel that in your hand, like my hands were swollen for over almost a month with bare knuckles. So when you have that piece of that, not many people are scared to use that. I mean, you saw with like Luke Rockhold, he got hit in the mouth, he broke his tooth and he was out. Like, yeah, done. Fuck this. I'm throwing my mouthpiece out. Like, I don't give a fuck about my teeth. Let's go. It's a very different mindset. And I think that bare knuckle MMA, it has that, but you also get to elbow and knee, and that's fucking amazing, and grapple. Yeah. I think I have some big news that I'm gonna announce soon, and you might just see me in a cage.
Let's go. I mean, my next question was going to be what's next. I mean, the opportunities are endless for someone like you who loves all facets of the game. But I want to talk about your mindset because, girl, you crazy. I love it. It's like it's like where does that mindset come from? That just like fuck it all mentality. I mean, you are a fighter through and through. Like, do you think it is like something that you're born with, or do you think you developed that over time?
Chicago. That's where I got Chicago from that. No, I had a tough upbringing, and I think that through my tough upbringing as a kid, I was always like really mad and angry, right?
Mm.
So going into my teenage years, I was a street fighter, and I just was constantly fighting. My dad was constantly had to take me out of jail or bond me out, whatever you call it, because I was like constantly getting batteries and just always loved to fight. My uncle brings this up now and I don't remember this. He had to pick me up from, I got kicked out of a community center for beating up a girl, and I was too scared to call my dad, and I called my uncle to pick me up. And he said, I remember picking you up and being like, why were you fighting? I don't understand. And he's like, you looked at me with the most innocent eyes and you said, I don't know. I just love to fight. And fuck, that really describes who I am. I just love to fight. I'm 37 years old. Like at some point people are like, grow up. What are you doing? But the truth is I still have a dog in me. I think that every single fight I get better and better. And as I age and as I get older, I am becoming so confident in my skin. Who I am today, the woman I am today is the best fucking woman I've ever been. And I own every ounce of me. And that comes through in my fights. And that makes my fights exciting. And I'm at a point where I don't want to fight. I fought strategically early on in my career. I played the safe route. I played to fought to win. And I'm not doing that anymore. Now I just want wars. I just want to have fun in there, and because I don't know how many more I have left or when it will be over. So yeah, I am crazy. I love it. I am in very good shape. I take extremely good care of myself. I live a very healthy and stable and safe lifestyle so that I can take my body to limits that I didn't know I had. And we'll see where this goes. I think that I miss grappling. It's a piece of me that I have expressed and has been a part of who I am for most of my life. And it's something that I've completely walked away from for the last couple of years. And when I go into that realm, when I get on a mat and I just become me again, it's a whole different person than the boxing, the striking girl that I am today.
PG, so we just talked about our fighter of the year, and we have a thing we're going to do throughout the whole show is fight of the year. And I don't want to get so much into it, but I did want to give you your flowers. You know this about you. I've told you this to your face. Your boxing match at Gamebred Boxing in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the beautiful Pfizer Forum, this beautiful NBA arena. And I mean no disrespect to your opponent. Her name is just not, I can't think of it right now. Who'd you box?
Fuck.
Who? Oh, there you go. There you go. Your boxing match was one of the greatest, not even just female boxing fights I've ever seen, one of the greatest boxing matches I've ever seen. It was such a war, such a scrap, and like the crowd and me being there, I'm literally have goosebumps right now. Like it was just like every round it just kept on leveling up. And then towards the end, like the last 20 seconds, like the whole crowd is on its feet and you guys are just swinging. It was like, oh my goodness. One of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing.
It's one of the best fights I've ever been in. It's one of the greatest memories that I have. And that was a fun slugfest, man. I enjoyed every second of that fight.
So good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. It's amazing. It's amazing. You deserve the flowers on that one. All right, UFC 296. I think we went 18 minutes. We talked about Christmas and everything else. UFC 296 is 4 days away, 2 title fights on the line. And before we get into like breakdown of any kind of fight, same thing. We have a great friend together in Dean Toole who match makes and create fights and creates stars in different organizations. And my first question is for you. Do you like, to me, the thread of UFC 296 is a old school versus new school? We have Paddy, we have Ian Gary, and we have Shavkat. 3, undefeated or close to undefeated, 3 rising budding superstars versus the old school of Wonderboy Thompson, Tony Ferguson, and Vicente Luque. Do you like that as just a fan or someone, like I said, a little bit behind the scenes, and your mind is so great for all, fighting? Do you like that kind of old school versus new school on the biggest platform there is in UFC 296?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that these fights are so interesting because of that reason. You have these athletes that are coming up that are evolved. And if you really look at the fight game, the way that the fight game has evolved since COVID is fucking crazy. Like you thought the sport was growing fast throughout the years, the last 20 years, the last couple years, it's been on fucking steroids. Like the level has changed. When I look at MMA today compared to what I was looking at 2 years ago, it's like everybody switches stances at this point. You cannot just have a heavy grappling area and okay strike. You have to be sound in all of these areas. And it just makes it really interesting. That low leg kick right now that has evolved so much in the sport and is like fucking taking names. It's taking heads, the low leg kick. So there's a lot of interesting pieces, new pieces that bring in these young athletes they're climbing the ladders. And they have this young energy. They have these new skills. They are daring. They're willing to try these, dangerous, risky moves. And then you have your experienced athletes who have been through the game, who have been through the evolution of the sport, who've seen damn near everything, who tend to play, I don't say safer, but they play a much more intelligent game. And it's based on experience. And so when you have those two kind of collide, it makes it very interesting. Who wins? Who's coming out? Is it the new and improved, the risky, daring, or is it the more wise, technically sound, been through it all field the experience that gets through?
That's such a good way to put it, because there's pros and cons to both sides, right? The pros, it's like you have the mileage, you have the experience behind you. The cons, maybe you're not getting looks that you should be getting. Like maybe you're not evolving fast enough. In your opinion, do you feel that there is room for the old school as the new school just exploding?
Absolutely. You've got to stay on top of your game, though. You have to be. You can't just do what we did maybe like 5-10 years ago, where you went in, today I decide to train, maybe today I'm off. Like you have to be so committed, so obsessive in this sport right now, and really willing to learn and take yourself and your body into these unknown areas that you wouldn't really want to go to 5 years ago. It's something that I'm not that style of fighter. Now you have to play in these areas and you have to get comfortable in the uncomfortable. So I think what makes it unique about this fight card this weekend is, have they evolved fast enough? Are they evolved? Are they willing? It's possible. I mean, you look at Glover Teixeira, who won the belt at 42 years old. It's very possible. Look at Holly Holm, the top of her division at 41 years old. It is very realistic and possible to evolve and stay on top of the game.
I guess the question is, did any of these people evolve that are on the card? Like, I worry about Wonder Boy, who is incredibly talented, but we all know his toolbox, So it's like, who do you think is going to be maybe the silent killer this weekend? Like, who do you think is going to really like wow us this weekend?
Rachmanov is very hard to ignore. What makes him interesting is that he's not this like flashy, dynamic fighter. He is a forward pressure, constant, high fucking pace, but also technically skilled. He, to me, gives me this young man in the sport, but with like a very old soul spirit. And so he gives like a balance of both wise to me and young and daring. So and he's quiet. He's a very quiet and modest man. So I feel like Rachmanov might be one of those silent killers in this. I think that there are a lot of distractions with Ian Gary, and I would like to see how he performs. He's got a lot of heat on him. But at the end of the day, whether it's positive or negative heat, we want the heat. So I hope that he utilizes that heat in a great way, and he comes out and he's got a tough fight ahead of him. Yes, Tony's been through some shit. Yes, Tony's on a losing streak and hasn't looked as great, but you can never ever sleep on Tony. Tony has so many different ways to stop you, to end you, to stay on top of you, to grind you. So I'm interested to see. Oh, excuse me, that's Tony. Tony's fighting Patty.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how Ian does against Vicente. Vicente's such a fantastic grappler.
Yeah.
But that man is sound. Vicente is a very sound and skilled fighter. So I'm interested in that fight. I think that maybe because of the drama, that makes that fight a little more interesting to me than I would have been. I want to see how he handles the media.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if his mental strength is there, because
do we think he shows up to the press conference?
Oh, 100% he shows up. And what Ian Gary should wear black leather pants, no shirt, and just go all heel. Just be a total monster. Say some stupid, crazy, wild. He would be, and especially if he wins on Saturday, he would become one of the, if he's not already, one of the biggest stars in the sport.
David, why no shirt? What?
Why no shirt?
Why was that the
no shirt? Dave wants assless chaps, and
that would be fun. I'm like, I wanted to.
There you go.
Everybody loves skin.
He shouldn't try to he should take it all in. He should be he's got something right now. He's got all the come on, Dean. Come on, Dean.
I love it.
And I shouldn't have said that out loud. But anyway, no, that's what John Jones, I feel like, should have done years ago. When he kind of had a little bit of the bad guy thing, he should have went all in. I think Ian Gary can do that. Right now, there's not a villain in MMA sometimes. And the villain, the Joker, we all love the villain. We all pay to see the villain. And I think Ian Gary should go all in as the villain. I think he would be big.
That's interesting you say that, because I feel like one of our biggest villains is the main event this weekend.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
And I feel like he's been the most quiet out of everyone.
I agree.
Which makes me
he's
wonder.
Taking a different approach. I think that he's taking a more patriotic, American. I've been watching. He said, make the welterweight division great again. He's and he went and spent some time with the troops, and he's really big right now on the troop thing. So I he's trying to play a good guy, but he was.
Yeah. Do you think we're gonna see a different Colby, as a fighter, or do you think maybe just a calmer Colby? I don't even know.
I think you have to see a different Colby. What's interesting about that fight is both of these athletes are coming off of fighting Usman twice. So they both have had this year and a half long fight camp against Usman. And so one, the mindset for that is very different than when you're climbing the ranks and you don't know who's in front of you. And compared to, I know I'm fighting this person in the next 6 months, it makes it very different. On top of that, I think that it gives both of these athletes so much to study, because they both have fought the same dude. They know what Usman feels like, what the energy is in there, and to watch each other's reaction, it makes that fight to me so interesting. He has to step it up, though. He has to step it up. Colby was, if you remember Dana talking about this, Dana said, when you look at the welterweight division, there's Kamaru Usman, who's the champion. If he's not there, Colby Covington's the champion. And he really has been at the top of that division for so long. But then you've got someone like Leon, who's a fucking trailblazer, who came in and just threw the head kick of the century.
Yes.
And then the second fight, he came and he showed up again. That makes this very interesting. Who really does take this fight? Is it the grappling? Because Colby has emphasized wrestling. 100% he's coming to wrestle. But Leon took down Kamaru, and that was one of Usman's first being taken down in his career. So Leon is, yes, he's got to be mindful of the wrestling, but at the same time, man, his striking can set up and frustrate and put you in all kinds of fucked up positions and take you completely out of your game. He has to step it up. Colby has to step it up. He's had, is this maybe his third or fourth title shot? I don't know if he's getting any more. He has no fucking choice.
And Pearl, there was a great stat I stole. I think I said it last week on the show. So he's over 35. UFC fighters fighting for a championship that are over the age of 35 are 2 out of their last 35 fights. They won. Colby, to me, this is it. It's a crazy stat. When I saw that, I was like, God, that's so good, because it's a young man's game. Usually if you're fighting for the championship, you're 27, 28, 29. One of them was Glover Teixeira, by the way, that you said. So they are 2 out of their last 35 they've won. If you're over the age of 35, fighting for the UFC championship. So it's wild. I think Leon's going to get the job done. I think he's what we just saw his last time versus Usman. Like, he did everything that Usman does, but better, and he's a better striker. And I think Colby couldn't get Usman. He couldn't beat him, and that was kind of a couple years ago. So I'm expecting Leon to get the job done. Maybe it's maybe I'm too high on Leon on this one, but I am expecting Leon to get the W in the main event. I don't know about you guys.
I love Leon. I mean, like, just when you watch his like pound for pound headshot, like I even earlier today I was watching that and I'm like tears in my eyes. Like you can feel his struggles. You can feel what that man's been through in his voice when he speaks. You see it in his fighting. But when I am very realistic and I look at Leon as a fighter, he will allow for his opponent to set the pace and to set the tone of the fight. And he will sometimes take the back seat and like just ride it out. He did that with Usman. And if Colby can come out aggressive and grapple and put him on the mat, put him on his back, hold him there, beat him up, there is a possibility that Leon will accept. And that's what's like, and if he does accept, does Colby give him the opportunity to get back up and get back to his striking, or does he make this a boring fucking fight and just grind on him for five rounds?
Elle, next question for Pearl, but I gotta say that Greg, it's not what I like. All right, I'm just thinking Ian Gary should go full heel. He should be a bad guy this weekend. I don't like guys with no shit. Let me just say that.
Listen,
happily married.
You like dominatrix shit, okay?
A lot of kids.
Okay. I'm not judging you.
We all have our fetishes, Dave.
Right.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
And besides, I wear leather all the time.
Yes, girl. Yes. I also want to apologize for the interruption. Coco is wreaking havoc on my studio right now, so I figured she wants to join.
She's so beautiful. Hi, pretty girl.
I love it.
All right, Elle, what you got for Pearl for 296 or for anything?
I kind of want to stay on the Leon Colby thing for a little bit. So I think it's interesting what you're saying. Like, we have kind of seen a very quiet Colby. I'm not sure if that's because the stuff with Ian Gary has just been so loud that there's not room for anything, or if he is taking a quieter approach this time. What interests me so much in this fight is I think Usman may have the better control on the ground, but for Colby, it's the pace and it's the up down. And I think Leon is a superb athlete, and I think he is such an explosive guy. But my question for you is, do you think he can win a decision here? Do you think he needs to knock Colby out to be able to win this fight? Or do you think that he can win a decision against a guy like Colby who just puts this immense pace and pressure on people against the cage?
If he can keep his distance, I think that he can absolutely win on a decision. But I do believe that the longer and the further and deeper that this fight gets, if there is no space, that Colby's going to take over this. What Colby is a master at is he's a master at closing that distance, closing the space and keeping it fucking tight. Leon needs his space for his striking is impeccable. Oh my goodness. Like, when you watch some of it, that head kick, like, fuck. I was
beautifully said it.
Everybody had written him off. Like, the fight was almost over, and then he threw that. So that tells you he's got
I left the bar that night. I fucking left. I was so I was like, oh, he's done. Usman's got it in the bag. It's all good. I leave. All of a sudden I hear, whoa! I was so pissed. So I learned my lesson real quick. Either way, that fight's going to be very interesting, and I think it's going to tell a lot for both fighters. But I have a question, and I'm sad to ask it, but it's a question that needs to be asked. If Tony Ferguson loses, what's next, man? What's next?
It kind of goes back to what you said about leaving the bar. You can never, ever count a fighter out.
Yeah.
Until the last second. I don't give a fuck if I'm like covered in blood. If I can still protect myself and I'm still coherent, give me my time, because anything can happen. And when it comes to age and it comes to whether or not your career is over, there are athletes, and I hope I'm not one, that need to be saved from themselves, that need to, hey, it's time to hang the gloves up. And I do believe we have seen glimpses of that in the last few of Tony's fights. But you don't ever want to take that away from someone. If he can come in and he can show up, I think this is a very realistic fight for him, that he is able to really step into his role and win this. He's got such incredible grappling and ways to put this together, and his cardio. I really think that plays a big role in a challenge on Patty, right? He's fighting Patty because Patty is susceptible to being taken down. Patty does not have the grappling skills and ability that Tony has, but Tony really has to step into that. And I love his David Goggins preparation for this fight and how he went into this camp with David Goggins, because David is such a thank you, Victor. David is such a mental fucking freak. I don't know if you guys read his book, but fuck, I
mean, just anytime he opens his mouth, I'm like, oh, I could run through a wall right now.
Yeah.
But the question is, I don't think anybody has ever doubted Tony's heart and drive. So I was going to ask if you were in favor of that choice for him for this fight camp, because I feel like, do you think it would have benefited him more to maybe focus on the basics?
You can never go away from your basics. Basics always need to take precedence in your training. However, the way that I have experienced is when my spirit, my soul, and my physical body, and my emotional, my mental health. So my mindset, my body, and then my spirit. When they are aligned, I'm unfucking stoppable. If any of those three are off, I'm not going to fight to the best of my ability. So I believe the David Goggins thing, it's not necessarily about heart. It's his warrior spirit that he was strengthening. And that is something that has to be strengthened. People don't understand. Yes, this is a very physical, it's a fucking war. I'm going in, it's me versus you. But at the end of the day, it's your spirit versus mine. It's your will versus mine. Whose will is going to impose? Whose will is going to take over? You could be the best fucking athlete in the world, Kamaru Usman. If you don't fucking show up for 1 second in the 5th round, you're done. Headshot, dead. So you have to, what he did, I love what he did with Goggins, because it tells me he was strengthening his warrior spirit, which I do believe was questionable these last few fights with Tony. I think that if he can go in there strong, mentally, physically, spiritually, and utilize his skills to the best of his ability, I think that he can submit him. I really do. I believe he can submit Patty. But if he goes in there, just a tiny hint of hesitance in him, I don't know. I don't know what happens. And I don't know if he can't pull that together, then that does bring questions of what is next. Where is your future? Because it may not be in the UFC.
Pearl, we have you for around like 5 more minutes. So I got 2 different avenues for you that we can go. One, we have a game. We can play a game with you. It's pretty amazing, but it's your call. Or, we talked beforehand. We were talking about it right before you came on. Like, we have like fight of the year and fighter of the year stuff. So you're the star. You pick. You want to play the game, or you want to talk about fight or fighter of the year?
I mean, I can give you my fight of the year, but I love games. I want to play games.
Let's play a game. Okay, so go ahead, Dave.
What's your fight of the year or fighter of the year? What's that? Just real quick before.
Oh my God, it's no brainer. Sean O'Malley. I fucking called that fight. 2nd round knockout.
Oh,
I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my fucking heart. A 2nd round knock. I knew it. I just knew he was going to fucking execute and land. And everybody counted him out. I think he was an underdog in that fight. We were at Dean's house, actually. I was with all the guys. And I was like, I fucking knew it. Like,
wow.
And that was such, like, he wasn't supposed to win.
Right.
That dude has been counted out his whole career. And like, that division needs that dude. Like, he's fucking he's an amazing at marketing. He's an amazing character. And he's a fucking badass fighter. So I love that fight. I love that for Sean. I think that division needed a champion like Sean. I just love the anticipation and how that fight played out.
That was a wild finish. Did you call how he was going to finish, or you just felt
I knew it was I knew it was going to be I knew he was going to knock him out. He had to. He wasn't going to out grapple him. He wasn't going to outpoint or he wasn't going to do any of that. Like Aljo's a monster. Aljo is one of the best. Like he's sound, man. That dude is sound on all areas. That's a well put together man. But I knew that like Sean had that power, and if he had that belief, that confidence that we've seen in like his Dana White Contender Series, and we, throughout his career, we saw these hints of it. If he came through with that shit was like it would go through, and it did. It was like the stars aligned for him, and then he fucking pulled the trigger. It was so badass.
And it was one of those things too where you could tell he, like, back to the basics, he was drilling that shit nonstop in camp. It was just so fluid that you could tell he was throwing that all camp. All right, before we let you go, let's get to our little holiday game. It's called This or That, Xmas edition. So basically you're gonna pick which one you would prefer. Sound good?
Sure.
And Elle, you can play too. I think Dave already knows these, but real or fake Christmas tree?
Fake.
You know what? Fake, first and foremost. Someone made fun of my little 4 feet Christmas tree back there.
I think it's cute.
And I was like, I have been like on the ropes for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, man, I need a bigger tree. I need a bigger tree. And then I go to the store and these motherfuckers are $500. And I'm like, I don't understand. Why?
Yeah. Nuts.
So,
Real Christmas tree is the way to go, guys. Real. The smell, the feel.
The bugs.
There's no bugs in Florida.
I have a dog. My dogs are gonna try and chew that thing. Like,
and
it's
they're just
a
messy. They're messy. And
I
then
got
it's like,
kids.
What do you do with it after?
I'm gonna
do your kids chew on the tree, Dave?
No, they don't. You just
That's what I'm saying.
real. I go with real. I love real Christmas trees. The smell. You walk in the house and Christmas.
I love that. And I wonder what I want to know. I'm not sure. I haven't done enough research. Do these trees clean the air? Do the pine trees clean the air when they're in the house? Because
when they're in the house. Oh,
right. I mean, are they still alive when they're cut down? I don't know.
They're in water.
These are questions I don't know, man.
No,
I
usually don't have them in water. Usually just
I don't know.
You can put the bottom of it in water.
You put the bottom of it in water?
Yeah, because it keeps it green and strong.
Listen, my fake tree looks perfect downstairs. That's all I know.
It's
my Charlie Brown tree is perfect too.
I love it.
It's a great tree. Dude,
white lights or colored lights?
White.
White.
Wow, we're all on board with that. I do like colored lights every so often, but white lights are definitely a thing. Eggnog or hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
I'm
not 50-50. I like both, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick hot chocolate.
Okay, wait, is there egg in eggnog?
Yes.
Hot take. I've never had eggnog before.
What?
So it sounds disgusting.
It's not good. It's really not good.
It's so good. Don't listen to me. It's so good.
And that's why I'm going with hot chocolate.
Of course, Elle would like eggnog.
I know.
Wait, Dave's just coming after me today.
I know. You're like on the naughty list today, Elle, I guess. I don't know. All right, last one. Home for the holidays or celebrating with friends?
I am such a Grinch that I don't give a fuck. But my family is so big on holidays. So I love my family. So I think it's always better to be with family. But friends are fun too. You get to be yourself.
I know. I kind of like both of them. This is a hard one because they both have their allure, but home for the holidays for sure. I spent Thanksgiving in Florida, and it was like, it was nice to see the in-laws, but I don't know. I'd rather be with my family, I can't help it. Sorry, Fran.
Make sure you cut that one into a real.
She watched
the in-laws.
Oh my God. I love you, Fran. I promise.
Christmas morning at home and as the elder here and all that stuff with kids, there's nothing fucking like it in the world. It is amazing. That moment when they wake up and they run and they see and they just rip. It's amazing. It's one of the best. It's Christmas morning. Like there's nothing like those things for sure.
We don't have kids yet, but we're homebodies. It's nice being home.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, happy holidays, Pearl. I'm so glad you can join us.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for having me on. I appreciate you. Happy holidays. I hope you guys all have a great week. And I'm very excited to see what happens in the outcome of this card.
I can't wait to hear your announcement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll see when that comes. I'm still waiting, but yeah, that should be very exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pearl.
Does it have to wait? Pearl's announcement. Does it have anything to do with
she can't say
with Central Florida?
No.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Nosy.
Dave's
Dude,
always trying to get little,
I know.
I know.
little tidbits.
I'm buying you a shot Friday night, Pearl. I'm figuring this
I
out.
quit drinking.
I figured.
I
Yes.
haven't drank
too.
since Sean O'Malley night, actually. That was the last time I drank. But maybe I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you, Dave.
My girl. I can't wait to call the fights. Island Fights 81. You can it's a pay-per-view link at islandfights.com. Devin Cushion's little brother Dylan is fighting for the first time under the Island Fights banner. It's going to be bananas. The Pensacola Bay Center is going to be awesome. Me and Pearl are going to be commentating. What else do you need to know? Like, come on. That's worth your money right there.
It's such a great card with local talent. I mean, we have incredible fights. So Island Fights is such a fun show. I'm really, really excited to be there and watch the new talent coming in, man. It's an amazing opportunity for us, Dave.
For sure. Well, Pearl, you're the best. I can't wait. I'll see you in a couple days.
Okay. Have a good day, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
So good. Pearl Gonzalez, like
the
one of a
best.
kind. One of a
She's
kind.
the best.
I love when she was talking about like the fighter stuff. The fighter, like, dude, she is a dog. Like, she has that in her. Like,
That
there's only
mentality is wild. It's so
amazing.
cool. Zero fucks.
yeah.
Well,
Amazing.
as always, thank you for having me. This
Maddie.
little one is turning into an absolute demon. So I'm gonna have to.
Your fighter of the year was Tom Aspinall. What's your fight of the year?
My fight of the year. Let me see my handy dandy notebook here. I decided. Okay, I had two.
Okay.
I couldn't decide. Pereira versus Adesanya 2, UFC 287 in April. When Adesanya got that shit back.
Respect.
I might be a little biased because I was there in person, so like the energy was insane, like immaculate. And then my second one, Alexa Grasso beating Valentina at UFC 285 because I did not fucking see that coming for miles and miles. Like, did not see that coming. So those are my two favorite fights from this year. And they were all great. So I mean, there's so many others to choose from. And then we have the upset too. Big best upset. Sean Strickland versus Izzy. Best upset.
That's the answer.
Like that's literally the only answer.
I was saving it for that. See, Dave, you can't have it for both. You got to have
exactly
variety.
We're about variety on this show.
That,
Coco, do you have
Maddie,
anything
before
to say?
you leave, you're amazing. You're the best. This show would not be what it is without you. You're a freaking superstar. I can't wait to see what we're going to do in 2024 together. Happy holidays to you. Ross is fighting for a world championship, his second world championship at a Karate Combat this weekend in Vegas. Maybe if you're around, in Karate Combat in Vegas, maybe we'll have some amazing content there in Vegas from Fight Bananas. We'll see. But
Maybe
Maddie,
I'll try and post in between my panic attacks. Yay!
I can't wait.
All
wait.
right,
You're
guys.
the best. Happy
Shout
holidays.
out.
Matt.
We love you,
Oh my
Maddie.
God. Happy New Year and all that good stuff. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. 2020. Oh, don't push any buttons.
I want button privileges back. I need to redeem myself.
Yes, you do. Look at that. Talking about pushing buttons. We just keep on going right into it. We'll do. I wanted us to do the fight of the year, but our next guest is live underneath. More puppies together. I can see it. She had a really fun weekend. It looked like down there in South Florida. Let's talk about the one and only Gillian the Savage Robertson. What's up, G?
And Gordo.
And Gordo. And Gordo.
Gotta give them the right introduction, you know?
Yeah,
And Gordo.
Comments. Wait. Great content as always. Thank you, Greg. Sorry I'm late. Dawson, you're the best. Greg, you're the best. Dude, what a show so far. What a great show. Right off the rip, G, we'll talk about some Christmas stuff. We'll talk about your amazing weekend that looked like I was a fly on the wall in your Instagram stories. But before that, fighter of the year in 2023. Mine was Sean Strickland's. Elle's was
Islam
Makhachev. Maddie's was Tom Aspinall. Who was your fighter of 2023?
I feel like I have to agree with Elle. I'm like, it's hard to argue that it's not Islam. I'm like, he
fought a featherweight twice. G,
pound for pound number one guy though.
But yeah, I'm like, you can't disrespect Volk like that. I'm like, Volk, he's a featherweight, but he is one of the biggest risk takers in the sport, which is why I feel like everybody loves him so much, but also one of the best pound for pound fighters. Like, I feel like to beat Volk twice, like, and especially the second time to be able to put him away like he did in just such a smart fashion, it's hard to argue that it's not him.
All right. 2 against 1 and 2 brilliant, great minds of yourself. So I might be on the losing side. So Maddie just said some of her fights of the year. Elle, let's start with you. Actually, I want to hear some of your fights of the year. I got 2 down, and then G will go to you. So Elle, what's your fight of the year?
My fight of the year, I wanted to go something that wasn't like a main event, one that people kind of forgot about. And man, Sajikov versus Slava Claus. I don't know if you remember that fight. It ended in a draw, but that fight was amazing.
It was great.
I watched it again this morning, and it's like, I was talking to Grant about it earlier, and he was like, man, I hate draws. I don't think there should ever be draws, but I can't pick a winner in that fight.
I'm honestly a huge Slava Claus fan. I'm like, always coming to fight, always coming to bang. He's a gangster.
Yes. No, I 100% agree. Super fun guy to watch. And Sajikov, like, obviously Slava Claus won the first or won that round in such a dominant way, but it's so hard to pick a winner in that fight. So back and forth, so many good moments. Yeah.
Love that. G, how about you? Same one or a different one? Fight of the year. What's something that jumps at you?
Let's go to you first. I'm like, you put me on the spot here. I'm trying to think of all the fights now.
So my 2 off the rip. Elle, I can't believe you didn't say one because I thought you were going to go one. One, I'm going to go to. I know we're very a UFC type of show. We got Gillian Savage Robertson on it. Elle Grant, I get it. But that fucking Shane Burgos Clay Collard for the PFL in New York City was amazing. Such a good fight. Shane Burgos and Clay Collard. That's all I need to say. That was good. But I think the fight of the year was Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski in February, main event at UFC. It was in Volk's hometown. Like, the crowd was amazing. The fight was amazing. Like, Makhachev was winning the beginning rounds, but then Volkanovski won the later rounds. And just, it was like, it was so much unknown, and for that to be such a pound for pound 1 versus 2 and to go to 5 rounds, and almost a lot of people thought it was a close decision, like that to me was the fight of the year. Volkanovski, Makhachev.
Historic fight for sure.
So good.
Yeah, I feel like that's hard to argue not to be, like you said, historic. The 2 pound for pound top fighters, and it's just like going to head, and then obviously we got to see it again later in the year too.
Yeah. So you're with that one? You like the Volkan Makhachev?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, I like that. Maddie threw out, and it's a good point. She threw out Grasso Shevchenko, and it's kind of like, it was just like maybe like a moment of the year. Grasso's upset, was kind of losing that fight, gets that choke, something that you know very well, and submits Valentina Shevchenko like no one would have thought. Like, that was a wow. So I give Grasso a lot of love on that one. But cool. Okay. We did a lot of Christmas too. So before we get into Christmas, can you tell everyone about your amazing weekend? What were you doing on Sunday, I believe, Sunday or Saturday?
It was actually Saturday night. I went, there's an event that I used to actually go to them all the time when I lived in Coconut Creek. Then I moved back to Port St. Lucie. So I just was too far. And now I'm back down in Miami and they come around again. But it's called 710 Dab Day on Instagram. And they go all over the state and they're just like big, it's a big marijuana event essentially. So just a bunch of potheads, cool vibes. It's so funny, like the difference between like a pothead crowd versus like an alcoholic crowd, just how chill it is. And just like everybody's just vibing.
Love it. By the way, someone might need another pen the next time they see you. Just I don't know who that person could be, but just throwing that out there. Dawson has a great point about the Korean zombie. That was probably, to me, moment of the year. Like that moment, everyone singing the song, him.
I cried.
Going on his shield.
I cried.
Matt Holloway. Yeah, just that was moment of the year. So shout out to you, Dawson. Okay. Are you, first of all, I don't think I've ever asked you this question too. Are you a Christmas person?
I'm usually not a huge Christmas person, honestly. Okay. Just, I guess I've been in fight camp since I've been 16 years old. So
that always sucks when it's during the holidays.
I've spent a lot of Christmases like at the gym. I remember like my parents coming to the gym to watch me spar Dean on Christmas, like when I was like 18 or 19 years old. So I'm like, it's just been a lot of Christmases at the gym.
I love that. And that's why we have a UFC record together. That's why.
Exactly.
What is your all-time favorite Christmas movie? We had some fun debate on the show. Mine's The Grinch. Jim Carrey is The Grinch. Elle's is The Elf. Will Ferrell. Do you have a favorite one, or do you like some or not, or were you at
Elf's a good one? But
Dave doesn't like Elf, so I'm just loving that you're agreeing with me today.
I love Elf, but
we talk off air too, G, and Elle's like, dude, I think me and Gillian we would be like good friends. We would get along so well. I was like, dude, you guys would. And look at you. You guys have the same fight of the year, same movies. You guys are like besties. Don't even know it yet.
I do love the Santa Claus movies, the ones with Tim Allen.
Yes.
I'm like, I feel like those are such like nostalgic childhood movies for me. I love them so much.
It's so funny you brought that up. Those are really good. The first one was so good. They have now on Disney Plus. We talked about it. It has a new show, like the Christmas. It's like 6 episodes, and it's kind of like him passing the torch to other Santa Clauses, kind of a thing. So it's
That's cool.
you know, yeah, it's not bad. It's not the first one by anything, but it's yeah. Hey, any new content of Disney movies, I'm in. So like, I'll take that. Well, I'm telling you, if I've seen The Grinch 300 times, it's probably not enough. Like I've seen that movie 335 times. It's crazy. Too much.
It's been a while since I watched The Grinch. I think I watch Elf every year.
I do too.
Unbelievable, dude.
And I watch A Muppets Christmas Carol every single year.
That's an underrated movie, Elle.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was
Michael
definitely
Caine
underrated.
though. I'm obsessed with Michael Caine. So
It is very underrated. All right, so another week of training camp for you. How has it been? How you feeling? How's life for you?
I guess we're just getting like back into training camp. I've been out of it for like sickness, injury, whatever. And I'm like, so it's like my body's feeling rough today, like it should. I have bruises like all over my arms from the cage, like usual now. So it just feels back to like back to homeostasis, you know?
I love it.
this is my normal is covered in bruises. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we're back to how we should be.
Love
I've been
that.
feeling too good for the last couple weeks. I'm like, my usual injuries aren't like nagging me. I'm like, my hips always bother me, but I haven't thrown kicks in 3 weeks, so we've been good. And then these last 2 days, I'm like, it's starting to nag me again. I'm like, oh, we're back to normal.
Yep.
Dude, I think you are. Tell me how good would it feel if you ever got like a head kick knockout? Like how sick would that be?
Just any knockout. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I want. I'm like, I've gotten the TKO, but it's not the same as like putting somebody to sleep.
Yeah. And just like walking away, like knocking someone out and just peace.
Yeah, I still need that moment, you know? I don't know why people aren't like as like fascinated or they don't think submissions are as cool as knockouts, you know? So it's like you get I don't know. I feel like just the general public.
Yeah, I agree. The general
attention that knockouts get versus submissions isn't the same. So I'm like, I've got the submission record in the UFC. Nobody cares if I don't have a knockout. So I'm waiting for that.
You gotta start doing twisters or something to
something crazy.
Get some attention.
Talking about submissions, how about our dear friend Hannah Goldie winning this past weekend on UFC PI5? I believe it's like their 5th event of like grappling. Dude, Hannah looked amazing. Like she looks so good. Also, too, like, and I think you know this and you can see that she looks so happy. She looks so relaxed. Like that's the Hannah Goldie we know and love and we know can perform. She looks so freaking good. Betting wise, she was an underdog going into that. And for her to get the submission win, I was so pumped for Hannah.
Oh, yeah. She went out there just looked confident, was able to execute, it was a weird little arm lock she got. She kind of hyperextended the arm over her thigh instead of like a traditional arm bar. But it was definitely like, I guess like creative thinking that was able to get her the win. But like you said, she just smiling the whole time, which is what you love to see, a fighter being happy.
Have they ever talked to you? And I know you've done the CFC stuff, and maybe they even reached out to you this year. And I know you probably maybe didn't want to do it with the fight on the horizon so early in January. But would you want to do the grappling on UFC Fight Pass? Like how big those are? Like GSP was commentating, was like really leading the charge, and of course it was supposed to be Gordon Ryan and all that stuff. Would you want to do that next year if you had the opportunity?
Oh yeah, I would love to compete with like jiu-jitsu. It's just such a different world for me now, but I would still love to be in it. You know, I'm just not as active in that world right now because I'm so focused on my MMA career. So it's like the fights are always going to come first, but if I have the opportunity, a little bit of off time, something comes up, I'm like, I would definitely be down. It's just, I'm like, it for me, I'm like, it's also depends the opponent, because I'm like, a lot of these black belt girls, I'm like, they're just, like I said, it's a different world.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're completely focused on a different game than I'm focused on right now. So I'm like, if it was the right opponent, right timing, I'd definitely be down.
talking about a different game as well, transitions us right into President Dana Brown and Mr. Awesome there for the GOAT got his Karate Combat in Vegas this week. Karate Combat 43, Pettis and Henderson, something that you knew for a long time. We got Maddie Levine's husband, Ross Levine, in the co-main event against Sam Alvey. A lot of other great fights, but how cool is it that this is like the week? I feel like when Awesome was there in Dominican Republic, it really wasn't like his car. Like he kind of came in late. This is like his car. This is one of his babies. How cool is it for him to lead the charge this weekend for Karate Combat?
Literally, our whole team is out there right now. I'm like, Goat Shed's been empty all week because Awesome's out there. I think we have 5 or 6 guys on the card. I'm not 100% sure, but we have like a lot of our team on the card. So it's like they're all out there fighting. Everybody's out there supporting Awesome, and it really is incredible to see what he has put together on the card. And I feel like at the fights that we're going to see this weekend are going to show like it's some amazing matchups.
For sure. Elle, you got one for G?
I was gonna kind of ask you more about Karate Combat, but you already covered it.
Okay, cool. All right, UFC 296 is this weekend. We talked to Pearl a lot about. We really hit on Leon and Colby Covington a lot, and we can definitely jump into that as well. But I really want to give this co-main event, the flyweight championship match, some light. Feels like this fight has been like so overlooked. You have Pantoja, who just won the title versus Brandon Moreno. We have Brandon Royval, who's just like, he's like a different type of flyweight. He's like so chaotic and so fast. And so like, he's looking for a finish. Usually flyweights are, to me, more technical and more savvy. Usually you're going to see a 25-minute fight. Not with Royval. Like, I think we're going to see a finish one way or the other. Elle, we know how much with Pantoja and training and being living close to him and all. But this is such a great fight, G. Where are you at on Brandon Royval versus Pantoja for the flyweight championship?
I think this was a tough one because I do think that Pantoja, skill-wise, is a little bit cleaner, where Royval does take a little bit more risk. And honestly, I love Royval for that. I love his style because, like you said, he's always looking for a finish, whether it's like a knockout or a submission. He's crafty on the ground too. He's always looking for a finish. So I'm like, I really would love to see Royval pull something off, but I'm leaning towards Pantoja winning it.
Elle, I would assume kind of the same way.
Yeah, and like I think it's going to go a lot like their last fight. Like they've already fought. We already saw what Pantoja can do to Royval. My issue with Brandon Royval, I think he's a really talented kid, but he is injured all the time, man. And I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's his fighting style or if it's like his size to joint ratio, because he's got these long gangly arms that are always doing something crazy. And I'm not sure what it is, but I just feel like we've seen him hurt so much. And Pantoja is durable. He hits like a truck for a flyweight. He's super technical, and he's better at what Brandon Royval is best at, in my opinion, which is his grappling. I think Pantoja is the superior grappler, and I don't think Royval can sub him off his back, which is where I think he's going to spend most of his time during the grappling exchanges. So yeah, I would agree with, not that I hope Brandon pulls off something, because obviously I hope Pantoja wins, but I think he's a little too technical for Royval.
25 minutes or a finish?
I think he subs him again.
G?
Yeah, I think Pantoja finishes him.
Wow. Woo! I like it. I'm in agreement, but I'm just throwing it out there. And I don't want to say we're rooting, but I think, like I said, close ties with you, Elle, and Grant and stuff, and American Top Team and all that nature. But Brandon Royval in the first round is dangerous. Like it's chaotic, and he throws, down the pike sometimes with that left, and it's like, it's weird. I can see a crazy first round. Like I can see one of those, like, even if he doesn't get the finish Royval, I can see him like winning 10-8 in the first round, maybe. Like there's something wild.
Having a big moment.
Yeah, I can see Royval having a big moment. And if he finishes him, like, wow, we have a new champion. If he doesn't, then we go into Pantoja. One last thing for you on UFC 296, G, and we'll let you run if you don't have anything else with us. There's 3 to me. We talked about it. Tony Ferguson, Wonderboy Thompson, and Vicente Luque, kind of like the old school, borderline future UFC Hall of Famers, the champions, fought for titles, like these really, really good, hardcore, old school guys against Ian Gary, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and Paddy the Baddy, like these new school guys. where do you see on that? Do you see one of the all three of the old guys are super big underdogs? Do you see one of the guys of the older class winning? Do you think all three new guys going to win? Where are you at on just those three fights in the new school versus old school?
I guess I never really put Vicente in that like old school category. I'm like, so I feel like Vicente does come away with this fight. He's just clean, technical, coming forward. I feel like it's too early in Ian Gary's career to be tested with someone like Vicente. But the other two, I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to watch them. I don't want to see either one of the, like you said, the old school, like the legends. You don't want to watch either one of those guys lose. And I'm like, I just think they both have tough matchups in front of them right now.
They do. And I don't know if Elle, we never really talked about this. Out of those two guys, I think the guy that has the shot, and I know it sounds crazy because he's lost 6 times in a row. I just think Tony Ferguson is a live, massive underdog against Paddy the Baddy. I just like, to me, Shavkat is the real deal, and I think he probably is going to be a future title challenger or even champion. After seeing Paddy's last fight against Jared Gordon, I don't know if I feel the same way. So I have more. I think Wonder Boy's better right now at his age, but I think Tony's got a shot, like something wild, short elbow, submission. I think Tony's got some kind of live dog shot against Paddy.
It's a long shot, Dave. But if he cuts
I don't know about that one.
If that happens, we are cutting this up. You guys are making fun of my Tony Ferguson pick. I'm cutting that up.
But when Tony does probably lose to Paddy, I hope everybody will stop talking about how Tony could have beat Khabib at some point.
That is true.
Because I hope that puts that whole conversation to bed.
Way over that. G, anything else for us? Anything, breaking news starting a company? Any kind of big? Do you have any Christmas plans, or is it just training your ass off, getting ready for another submission win at UFC 297?
Yeah, it's just staying focused till January 20th right now. Not gonna do anything for Christmas really. Just gonna stay home, probably go to the gym. That's just about it for me until then. I'm just constantly just diet, train, sleep, diet, puppies. That's about it.
Love it. Well, I said the same kind of thing to Maddie. G, you're the absolute best. We love this show. You're a huge part of it, and we're so pumped for 2024. But yeah, this is going to be our last 2-hour live show of this year, and then 2024, some big, amazing, cool things in the works and in plans. So cannot wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I can't wait for the next year. Like you said, big things in the works and big plans coming, and hopefully big things happening fight-wise too. So just moving on up.
I love it. G, you're the best. Have a good rest of the day. Happy holidays to you guys down there in South Florida, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, happy holidays to you too, and I'll see you guys next year.
Thanks, Gillian.
There we go. Later, G.
Thanks, Gordon.
Gordo. Look at that. Going right into it. I love this. Our next guest is already ready. Usually we had 2-3 minutes already ready to go. This is
so
awesome. Elle, you were down there in Orlando, Florida, and you guys ran into each other. I love it. And that's how the fight game works. And, their social media is amazing, and the content he creates is awesome. I kind of there's so many things I want to talk about with him. So let's just bring him right into the show right now. If he's ready, talking about the one and only McDojoLife. What's up, brother?
What up, man? Thanks for having me on the show, and we could chit chat and talk shop. It's my favorite.
I love it, man. Absolutely, dude. First time us talking. So we're pumped to have you. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. First time caller, long time listener. I appreciate you having me on.
Love it. Elle, you want to start it off, or what you got?
Yeah, obviously we connected at Nuka. And so I know it's been a week, but I just thought it would be fun to kind of recap that a little bit with you since you got to experience that. Me personally, I was pleasantly surprised at the level that these college kids were put it for these fights. I really was not expecting as high level athletes as we got. Did you see the same thing I did?
Yeah, man. I think that when you're looking at stuff like that, obviously there's going to be a huge juxtaposition between fighters. There are some fighters there who are brand new, green, never done it before, and they're terrified to walk in the ring, and you can see that. And there are some that are a little more seasoned just because it's college. I think Nuka is a fantastic platform, and I really hope that it does well. And the fact that they are trying it again, even after COVID shut them down the first time, is a great thing. And they brought in the best, too. They brought in Mitchell Chamali who has been doing consulting for Karate Combat. He did some consulting. I don't know if you guys even know about that story or not, but he did some consulting during COVID because he was one of the only MMA promotions doing anything at all during COVID to start. And at one point, I think he was one of only 2 sports events even going on at that day or that weekend because everything was shut down to COVID. So he figured out a way to make that happen. Props to him for being able to help them out and make NUCA something that will be a good organization for sure.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So much. We've done a lot of fight and fighter of the year. Maybe we'll get into that with you as well. Also a lot of Christmas stuff, and we'll get into that. But the first thing, like I said, with you on your socials and the accounts, what was I'm a huge comic book guy and all that stuff. I love hearing origin stories. What was the origin? Like, what did you wake up one day? You're like, hey, I'm going to make this account. Like, when did you think of it? How long have you been doing it? What's McDojoLife's origin story?
Well, you see, I got bit by a radioactive spider. And from there, it, I had to avenge my grandfather's death and a wrestling match. You don't want to hear all those details.
Familiar.
No, it was a conversation. So I've been in the martial arts industry for about 26 years. Wow. And I started when I was 12 years old because I was just getting the living dog crap beat out of me every day in school because I was born with a cleft lip and palate. So I was picked on. And then it was, I don't know, it's a little over a decade now. I was substituting in to teach a jiu-jitsu class. And my boss called in. He was like, hey, man, can you teach this class? And I was like, well, okay. And he never calls in sick. So I know he was really sick. So after the class was over, it was like a noon class. And everybody at noon class either doesn't have a job to do that day or they go right back to work, right? So most of the guys went right back to work. But one guy, while we were there and everybody was getting their stuff ready, I had somebody go, we started talking about McDojos and what McDojos are. And that term's been around since before I was even in martial arts. And everyone left except for one guy. And the one guy pulled me to the side. He goes, hey, man, it's only my first class. I'm a little embarrassed. Like, what's a McDojo? Like, I don't know what that is. And so we just thought like it was a term that he knew. So I explained it to him and he asked a very simple question. Why doesn't anybody do anything about that? And I was like, I'll be damned. I got nothing. Martial arts is unregulated. You don't need a black belt. You don't need any martial arts training at all, period, to start a martial arts studio. No one's going to check on you if you're doing anything nefarious. No one really cares. And so I just decided the next day, since I couldn't get out of my head, like, well, maybe I could try. And then I started McDojoLife the next day.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's amazing. Like, I think we really have to self-police our own industry. And I think that's exactly what you've done with this page, because like you said, there is no regulation. And if we're being honest, we probably wouldn't want there to be, because that would be a really complicated government organization that oversees martial arts facilities, right? But you've done a beautiful job allowing the community to police themselves. How do you deal with people who maybe are going to be on the negative side of what you're doing, and the people who are putting out these McDojos? Because obviously they still manage to have a huge following, and sometimes even bigger followings than the people who are doing good in these communities. How do you target that and deal with that?
Well, the first thing I want to touch on is, you said we don't really want a governing body. I agree 100%. There have been government policies throughout the years that have tried to actually enact, to do things about what you can and cannot do in terms of self-defense. One of the more famous ones is actually in New York, something called the Diaphragm Bill or the Diaphragm Law. And if you look into that, it actually regulated police officers in New York to not be able to put pressure on an assailant's diaphragm while they're apprehending them. So that means no more mount, no more back mount, no more bear hug, no more knee on belly. Literally all the things that would allow you to apprehend someone safely get taken off the table. But you can still hit them with your car. You can taser them. You can kick them. You can drop them on their head. You can shoot them. All of those things, just fine. But don't sit on them. So, it seems like a lot of those policies are made by people who don't know what they're talking about. And that's a shame. But when it comes to like backlash, there are a lot of people out there who are doing things nefarious. They're doing it on purpose. They're ripping people off on purpose. But the majority of people out there aren't. They love martial arts, but maybe they're just not good at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that's the real hard part with the job, is so many people send me stuff and I'm like, yeah, that's what Taekwondo looks like. I don't know what to tell you. Or they'll send me a Wing Chun video. I'm like, yeah, that's what that looks like. That is that art. And everyone starts martial arts for their own particular reasons. And I think that it's important that what we should do as a community is actually define what the issues are. And that's something that I've been really trying hard to do. It's okay if you want to do Aikido. That's fine. Like, what if the guy did it because he had a buddy who did it? He winds up losing 30 pounds. He's able to get a gastric bypass surgery and it saves his life. Hey, he got out of it what he wanted. He wasn't doing this because he wanted to fight people. What about people who like Taylor Lautner? People forget about the sport karate thing, right? They make fun of it. But what about guys like Raymond Daniels, Michael Penn and Page, Stephen Thompson, Lyoto Machida is also a karate guy. GSP, Boz Rutten are also
karate combat's coming up. Like, we're
karate
seeing
combat,
this,
you know? So if you do martial arts and you want to fight, that's an option for you. If you do martial arts and you want to just do it for fun, that's an option. But if you want to do martial arts because it's entertaining to you, because you want to be a stunt performer like a Taylor Lautner, and you want to become an actor, what the fighters forget sometimes is that we're still the people who line up at the movie theaters and shell out dollars to pay those people's bills, even though we make fun of them. So maybe we shouldn't make fun of the people that do it just because they're not doing it because of why we're doing it. It's okay to have a different opinion. It's okay to do something for a different reason. I respect that, you know? So maybe as a community, the only way that we can really come together is if we all agree on what we disagree on, what we don't want in the community, which is simple. I think everybody wants the same thing. We want instructors that tell the truth. We want to have a good time. We want to make sure that we can go and eat our food tomorrow without a broken arm because we got hurt in the gym. We want to be able to defend ourselves. So we don't want to get injured in the gym and then the next day walk around with a torn ACL and then have to defend our life. That would defeat the purpose of learning martial arts, wouldn't it? Right. So I think it's all about just us coming together and just finding a commonality. And the commonality, oddly enough, in martial arts isn't what we all like. It's all what we all dislike. And so if that's a start, maybe we can build a foundation and continue to grow the martial arts community.
I think what you're saying is like, it makes sense to pinpoint the instructors and the predators, not the individuals that are participating.
Exactly. Like most of the time, this, like, I get some poor lady out there. I wish I remembered her screen name because I'm going to apologize for her. Some poor lady out there is like in her 50s or something, right? And she's doing Krav Maga, and people keep sending me the same videos of her. And I'm like, look, just because she's not good at it doesn't mean she's not benefiting from it. Like, she's 50. Like, she's not going to be out there, like, dropping elbows and Seagaling people, man. Like, she's just...
Think of all the millennials out there playing freaking pickleball. Most of you guys suck. Like, it's a hobby. Let the lady have a hobby.
And fighting.
Love it. Love it. On your IG page, is it just you that are 100% behind it, creating the content, or do you have a team of people that help you with that?
God, I wish I had a team. It's just me. For now, like, we just started McDojoLife.com. McDojoLife.com was built with myself and the team over at Zen Planner, which for anyone who doesn't know is like a CRM system for martial arts schools, like billing. And so they came on board, and we actually now have not only a registry for people who have done things nefarious, but as that continues to grow, we allow people to add on. And then once that actually starts making ad revenue, I'll actually be able to hire someone, and then they can work on the website and then hopefully continue to grow. But the ultimate idea of McDojoLife is to not tear the industry apart, but to bring us all together. And there's an event section on there. There's consulting work that I do on there. There's a spot there for, like I said, the registry where people can actually type in instructors' names and go, oh, that's weird. My instructor's on here because he defrauded people 10 years ago. Maybe I should have that information. And it helps because in Google, a lot of those things get shoved down. So you might type in somebody's name and never find that they did anything wrong. Well, now you have a go-to spot for that. And then people can send in stuff and I'll double check it. And then hopefully eventually we'll be able to grow and go beyond just what's wrong, but show people the good too.
Nice. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong on this, I saw you have a book too that just came out.
Shameless plug. It's called Sensei Stars and Scars. Yeah. So you were talking about origin stories. This really is mine. It's about the time how I started martial arts. I talk about how I was beaten in school, and I talk about how my instructor set himself on fire in a nightclub ring. I started boxing in what they call patron boxing fights when I was 15. So the only reason I was even allowed in nightclubs was because my instructor was the promoter. So he would let me go as long as I had a waiver signed by my mom. So I went to this bar And it was like a super rowdy place. It was like notorious in Jacksonville for like riots and all kinds of stuff. But it was wild. We had 2-on-2 fights, 1-on-3 fights. I did a 2-on-2 fight. One of my 2-on-2 fights is actually on YouTube. There's stories about my first fight there. I was 15. I fought a guy who was 30. And it's a lot about like growing up in that scene and having to get through high school while I was participating in these bar fights. And of course, like kind of the story I just told you, what led me to start McDojoLife. So it's a very specific time in my life, but it was wild. And actually, because of those fights, they actually changed a lot of the legislation and how boxing is done in the United States. It started in Florida.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Like there needs to be a documentary on that. I want to see some video footage of these fights.
Oh,
dude,
dude,
you have to send us some YouTube links.
It's wild. So like I'll send you the 2-on-2 for sure, but there was like 3-on-3 fights. There was even, I forgot this was a thing. I was going through the archives because they filmed every night. So I have every one of those nights filmed. A fighter got bit, a riot happened, like it was wild. But there was a 4-on-4 fight. That means there were 4 people on the ring on one side, 4 on the other, and they even had 4 referees.
And this was just a regular boxing ring.
In a boxing ring.
What are the rules for that? Do you have to fight your designated opponent, or can you just like
Nope,
2-on-1?
Whoever. It is a free-for-all in there. It was wild.
4 referees sounds more complicated than just 2.
It was very complicated.
The guys backstage, if it's me, Grant, Moicano, and Thiago Alves, it'd be like, all right, guys, you guys go after these. I would love the game plan and behind the scenes of that.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
how cool would my team be? Grant, Thiago, and Moicano.
We even did like
you don't have to fight anybody, really.
Thunderdome rules. So one of the agreed upon rules that fighters would do, because like we had a guy who was Bobby Deluge, who eventually did become a pro boxer. He was like 120 pounds maybe, and he would fight guys that were like over 300 pounds, and he would knock them out cold. He chose like there was no real weight classes, but Thunderdome rules was no time limit, 1 round, and it doesn't stop until someone quits or gets knocked out.
All right.
Thunderdome.
It was a wild.
This was pre athletic commission, pre everything.
Yeah, and like what was really weird was like they paid us a $50 bar tab if we won, but I was like 15, so like
so everybody, your coach was over there drinking beers.
Yeah, I was just like handing it to people. Like one time I did muster up the courage to try it. Like I'm a teenager, like in the 90s. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should like try to sneak a beer in and see what happens. So like an idiot, I went up to the bar and got like a Smirnoff Ice. And because I had like my little like, oh, I won the boxing match and I had my wrist wraps on, they were like, yeah, no problem. Just handed it to me without checking my ID. So I'm in the back feeling like a big kid, just drinking my Smirnoff Ice at like 15.
Did you put a Jolly Rancher in there?
No, that's a good idea though.
Kind of good.
So then the promoter walks in. He's like, what are you doing? He like ripped me a new one for that. But I was a teenager. I didn't know any better.
Awesome.
So do you have I was gonna say, so do you have an official MMA boxing record anywhere, or was this was too long ago before?
No, so on you can look up 2 of my fights. Everything else is like this patron thing. I was also on a team called Team Full Circle, which Ross Levine, funny enough, who's fighting on this Karate Combat card, we were on that same team together. And so I'm always rooting for Ross, although Sam Alvey's a great dude. Don't get me wrong. I like him. He's a nice guy, but I got to root for a teammate. So
we're biased as well.
Yeah, exactly. Ross or death this weekend, McDojoLife. It's Ross or death. That's the host on the show. We're all Team Ross this weekend.
But like, so on you can look up my fight record, at least for the 2 fights. One was a loss because I'm an idiot. And then the other was a win. But everything else was like pre that athletic commission thing. Right. So like, it's almost like a timestamp. You can see like, I have all my fights like recorded, but then you can see the moment like it became a legal issue, which I talk about in the book. But the moment like 2 people actually died because of these patron boxing fights.
Wow.
Do you guys remember the Tough Man contest?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do not. I need to.
Oh man, you're missing out. So like it's genius because what they would do is they would have amateurs get in the ring and just any amateur could sign up and fight. Right. So of course they're getting paid by hyping up their backstories. Oh, this plumber versus this lawyer, blue collar versus white collar kind of thing. And it was good. It was entertaining, right? But they also didn't have to pay the fighters. So like they're making hand over fist money. Well, they had all these like different branches. Well, if you look it up, like in these patron boxing fights, In Jacksonville, someone died because the way that they did the ring, normally you put the slats in and you put the canvas over, and it's got a bounce to it, which is a shell shock for people who've never done it because it kind of gets them calves going, right?
Yeah.
Well, they drilled those slats down. So it was just like rock hard. So somebody got hit and they didn't have a headgear, hit the corner of their head on the ring and died. And so, of course, then the state starts coming in and then the regulating bodies start coming in.
Right.
But up to that point, it was like a really big deal in the United States to have these patron boxing matches.
Crazy. All right, we've kind of whispered a little bit about it. I do believe I saw that you yourself will be in Vegas this weekend for Karate Combat 43. Just go down that aisle. What do you think of the brand? How much of a fan are you of it? And what are you intrigued about seeing this weekend? If you are going this weekend in Vegas, right?
Absolutely. Well, technically I'm going for roulette, but I'll also be there for like some blackjack. MMA awards are going on, so I'll be at the MMA award show. I'm really excited about that. I went a few years back before COVID.
Okay.
And it was just really fun. It's like surreal if anyone gets to go, because you're surrounded by legends who are just like shooting the shit and drinking beer. You're like, you guys fought. Like Gastelum and Izzy were there the last time, and this is after their like epic fight of the year fight. And I was like, they're like people. It was like a National Geographic thing. I'm like watching through a lens. But I'll be there for that. I'll be there for Karate Combat as well. And in terms of an organization, I think it's fantastic. They just changed the guard with their president. The old president was Adam. Yep. Adam is fantastic. Love that dude to death. He's a quieter guy, so the way that he ran the promotion was a lot more even keel. Whereas the new president, Asim, is straight out. He's the guy who runs Goat Shed, for anybody who doesn't know. And if you don't know who he is, look up Goat Shed and you'll see him. But I've known him for a long time too, and he's been nothing but cool to me over the years. But he is a much different, polarizing personality than Adam. They're just different people. And you can already see that it's the way that they run the organization just on the surface. You can already see there's a night and day difference. I think this is probably the best card that they've had set up so far. It is absolutely incredible. I mean, you're getting the Pettis trilogy right now, right? So you're going to get that fight. So that means there's a good chance we get to see a solid ninja kick off the wall of the pit, which I think is dope.
Yeah.
You get to see Sam Alvey versus Ross Levine. Ross as a veteran. Like when we used to do sport karate tournaments, what people don't understand is you do hundreds of matches in like only a month. Like there might be 30, 40 people deep in your division with a double elimination division. And he would be the guy that would be there at the finals racking up. Same thing with Raymond Daniels, also on the card. Raymond Daniels, thousands and thousands of highlight reel fights. I think they call him the human highlight reel. I mean, the dude is incredible. He's one of those people where you watch him and you're like, there's no way this guy's going to lose. So when he did lose in Karate Combat, that solidified how much more legit Karate Combat is to me. Because some like WKF legend who looked like a soccer dad, like put it on him. And I had never seen that. And I had seen him fight all over the country. So it's wild to see him actually lose a fight the way he did. So now he's got to step up his game, because what happened to him before, he's like, well, I can't let that slide. And if you know Ray, there's two things you need to know about Raymond Daniels. After his fight, he's going to have a bag of Reese's Pieces. And we're not talking about a little bag, right? And number two, every loss he takes to heart. So he'll go back to the gym, work 10 times harder to make sure it doesn't happen again. So just those fights alone, worth it. So anybody who wants to check it out, you definitely should. And I've only missed one Karate Combat when it's been live with an audience. Only one.
Nice.
If I'm being honest, I love seeing this because I've never been a big kickboxing or traditional martial arts fan at all. And so some of these guys I never would have heard of. Obviously I would have heard of Ross because of Maddie, but without knowing Maddie, I probably wouldn't have, because I didn't watch Glory. Like I never got really into Glory kickboxing. And so to see some of these, like you said, like you just said the name of the organization. It slipped out of my brain, but some of these European kickboxing champions that are coming over and these Glory kickboxing guys that are in this organization, I never would have heard of these guys without a Karate Combat.
And what's wild to me is I think karate went through probably at least 2, maybe even 3 decades of just being pooped on by everyone else in every other martial art.
Right.
But what
True.
people forget is since 1993, I personally believe that we're in a martial arts renaissance. I think it's a beautiful thing. We're watching jiu-jitsu evolve in front of our eyes. We're watching rule sets being played out that have never been done before. And our lifetime, 10th planet now exists. Like, that's a big deal considering that back in the day, if you weren't doing the gi, no one took you really seriously. And now we're getting to see karate step up as well. And if you don't step up, you devolve, your art will disappear. And so guys who were in the grinder, who were fighting every weekend when everybody was still pooping on it, have made their names. Stephen Thompson, Raymond Daniels, Michael Venom Page, who had one of the most wicked knockouts I've ever seen in my life with that jumping knee, crushing Cyborg, and I do believe putting him out of fighting, period. That was point karate. That was the thing everyone makes fun of, and so that's what's bonkers to me. And now those fighters never really had a stepping stone, so like if you're in jiu-jitsu right now, you can make a living off of jiu-jitsu. It is a possibility to just do that. Possibility to be just a boxer, just a kickboxer, just almost anything but a karate guy, unless you wanted to open a school. Well, now there's an opportunity for those guys to do that. They don't have to go to MMA if they don't want to. And if they do decide to do this, it could be a great stepping stone to get there. Or as we're seeing with like Sam Alvey, if you're already in MMA, maybe it's a chance to give you something different, a different rule set and a different opportunity. So I'm all about it. I think it's the greatest thing ever.
What are your thoughts about you like then that they're bringing these MMA legends over to the sport? Because I know some of the guys who are on the Karate Combat roster maybe aren't thrilled about these guys getting, more of the spotlight since they're not Karate Combat guys. I think it's probably going to be a good thing for the sport. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Like, this is the beauty of things like this, is because if you look at it, the guys who were upset, because I know there's a lot of people for sure who are upset. They just signed on, I think, 4 or 5 bare knuckle guys, like the farthest thing away from sport karate ever, right?
Right.
Well, if you don't think they belong there, beat them. Show them they don't belong there. Like, don't complain. You could bitch and moan all you want. I bitched and moaned into my pocket that there wasn't any money in it yesterday, and guess what? There's still no money in it, because that's not how you get things done. The only way to pay the bills is to go to work. So if they want to stop those people from coming in the organization, they want to show, hey, man, they don't belong here. Prove it. Prove it. And the guys are the opposite way. If you want to show people, hey, I belong in your rule set, prove it. Just prove it. And if you get upset that you got beat by a guy who doesn't do the thing that you're known for doing, whose fault really is that?
Yeah.
Good point. McDojo, like we were talking about this whole show, the major threads, the show, this is going to be our last 2-hour live show of the year. So we're talking about Christmas and holidays and Christmas movies. First and foremost, are you a Christmas guy?
Oh, dude, every night, December all the way past, I watch a Christmas movie every day.
There we go.
Are there even that many Christmas movies?
Oh, there are.
There are. They're very true. So we were having a big debate in the first hour. I think I'm right now on the losing side of this debate. Elle is winning like always. What is the greatest Christmas movie ever made?
See, that's tough because I have a lot, right? Okay. So first of all, in case you didn't know, Lethal Weapon was all done during Christmas. So if you go back and watch that movie.
You're one of those.
Die Hard.
Die Hard is also a fantastic Christmas movie. And by the way, it's not Christmas until someone gets tossed off of Nakatomi Plaza, just so you know. But I also do love traditional Christmas movies. Yeah. Like, I'm a big fan of Scrooged, like Bill Murray's Scrooged.
Okay.
Like, I'm a baby, dude. Like,
we haven't heard that one yet.
Dude, such a good one. Because at the end of the day, like, when you watch Bill Murray play an asshole, he does it so well. Like, he's just the best. But he does this speech at the end of that movie, and it gets me teary every time. And I don't give a damn who knows it. Because, like, at that moment, I don't think he's acting. Like, it's a beautiful piece of cinema to me because he starts actually crying during that monologue. And to watch somebody actually care that much about people, which is why I like Christmas, it's all about other people. Like, every other day is about yourself. You work hard, you pay your bills, you got to do this. But Christmas time, to me, I'm not a super religious guy. I like the thought that it's about other people. And so when I watch that movie and I watch the end monologue, it's like the epitome of somebody who gives a damn about other people. And that, to me, is like a big deal. It's very rare to see.
Nice. Okay, the debate. And I'm not going to tell you what side I'm on, the right side. But what movie do you like more yourself, your personal opinion? Do you like Jim Carrey's Grinch or Will Ferrell's Elf? Which one?
No, that's not the argument. The argument is Elf a good movie. That's the argument.
No. Grinch or Elf?
So I see. It's weird because like I'm not a big fan of Grinch. I think it's all right. I guess I'm probably one of those guys who's old enough to remember the original. So like it's so
I love the
hard.
original too.
It's so hard not to like
the new one's great too.
You know, like, but I gotta say Elf all day. And like there's just so many lines from that movie that just stick with me. Like
it's a very quotable movie.
It's so quotable. Like, oh my God, you did it! The world's greatest cup of coffee. Dude, like I think about that to myself like every day I drink a cup of coffee because every day it might be the best cup of coffee I've ever made. But yeah, that movie's dope. I love that movie.
I got nothing else.
Dave's the only person that doesn't like Elf, apparently.
All right, well, I gotta know the beef. What's the issue with the movie?
No, for one, it's a Christmas movie, so I'm a fan of it. I like the movie. I'm a huge Christmas guy, huge Christmas movie guy. I think my biggest beef, is so Will Ferrell is like the main star. He is the movie. Like it's all about him. This is his movie. And Will Ferrell's been in 12 movies like that, Kicking and Screaming and all the Anchorman. He's been in 12 of them. Elf is just the worst Will Ferrell movie. So I'm just like, I just think it's lackluster. I just don't think it's as funny. I don't know. It's just that. And
I got you.
I'm a huge Grinch.
I had to do a lot of summer camps for when I was teaching martial arts full time. And if anybody's ever taught martial arts full time, you've probably done a lot of summer camps yourself because you got to pay them bills. But we used to have to watch Kicking and Screaming like every summer camp. And it's such a quotable movie. Like whenever the kids are like doing something I need them to do, it's like, how is this going to help my jujitsu? It's not. It's just going to help me get this dojo clean, dude. Like it's not Miyagi time, but like, I don't know. Everybody to each their own, If you really want to at least like it a little, just a little, if you want just a little taste of what it would be like if you did like it, go watch something called The Movies That Made Us on Netflix. And they do an episode just about it and how it got made. And it might change your mind just a little. You can have a little more respect for it.
No, and that one scene when they're in the mall and they go to bed and Will Ferrell makes it look like the North Pole. That scene's awesome. I like the movie. It's a Christmas movie. I like it. Dawson just threw it up. I love it. Home Alone 1 and 2 are just classics. So freaking good. I think most of the first hour, we just asked Pearl Gonzalez and Gillian about the Christmas movies. We do a little UFC 296 talk.
A bit of an MMA show within a Christmas show.
Well, I'll toss out a movie like you might dig. It's a horror movie, but it's a Christmas horror movie, and it's basically Home Alone if those things were real.
Which one? What's that?
Man, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I will send you a text about it. But if you look up on Google, it's Home Alone style horror Christmas movie. I know that's a lot to type into Google. I'm sure, just monitor what you click on. But it's fantastic. It's a great horror movie, and it's all based around Christmas time, and it's awesome.
I might pass on that. I'm a baby.
Oh man,
I get nightmares.
I'll tell you one scene. Just think about the paint can thing. If that really happened, not like how God,
a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah,
a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, it would not be good. So just something for the coffers if you're looking for Christmas movies.
I was watching Flubber the other day for the first time in years, and like when he gets hit with a bowling ball, I'm like, their heads should be exploded. Like they should definitely be dead. Like I don't know.
Roll credits.
True story on Flubber. I watched the movie in the theater, and it was like my first or second kiss of like a girl watching the movie Flubber.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What year did Flubber come out?
I don't know,
was I alive?
97, 98, 96 in that range.
I was alive.
Oh, get out of here.
Dave discovered Doja Cat for the first time last show. So we've been aging Dave this month.
Yeah, congratulations. My YouTube search channel will never be the same. Just never. It was so perfect. It was UFC and Pat McAfee and Fight Bananas. It was just what I needed. Now it's all in there.
Now there's a bunch of cheeks. Just a bunch of cheeks.
I've seen a lot more than that.
Do we have time to hit 296, Dave? Do we have a couple more minutes?
We might. Let's run it for a couple minutes. So main event, or there's there a fight on the card that you're, and also too, let me ask you this, we didn't get into it. Are you just playing out? Are you a UFC guy? Are you like getting every pay-per-view, watching every fight night? Are you consuming the UFC content?
I consume it. The hard part about my particular job is I cover all martial arts.
Right.
And so like there's so many events going on all the time. Like I might have some obscure thing I'm looking at, like some kind of sumo thing going on in Florida when a UFC is going on. And then people are like on a Monday when I go live, they'll be like, hey, what did you think about this fight? Or they'll mention guys like, cause they're hardcore UFC guys. And I'm like, I have no clue who that is. Like I care about the people I care about. And like one of the people I care about, and I'd love to see have this opportunity is Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
To see that dude make it so close so many times and just never get it. It's just it just kills me. And every time I watch one of his fights, like I was in Miami when I watched one of his fights and he put on a damn clinic. I think it was the last fight. Did I break some shit? I think I broke some. I'm sorry. So the last fight that I saw him on, he just put on a clinic. It was like Wonder Boy, like in his 20s, not Wonder Boy almost 40. And I was like, oh my God. And like, what was weird was I was there with some homies, like my friend who runs Epic Roll. I think I was there with Robin Black and like one other dude. It might have been B-Mac from, but we're all there. We're watching. We're the only people watching this fight in the bar. No one else gives a damn. There's like hundreds of people and we're over there freaking out watching him put on a clinic. And I just want him to do so well. He's one of those people I just think that when you meet him, that's not a facade. That's not fake. He is that person. That's just who he is. And he's super talented. And so I would love to see him win this matchup. I think that it's going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be a long road for him. He's going to have to bring his A game. It's not going to be an easy one. And I think that at this point, the UFC may even be, and I'm not trying to disrespect them or anything, may even be trying to use him as a gatekeeper. Because if you looked at the last two fights they tried to match him up with, I was like, okay, y'all are assholes for that. Like,
here's my counter argument to that, though. I think when we don't want to see these legends get matched up with these young guns, but when that doesn't happen, then you lose contenders and these weight classes get stuck. I think like lightweight was kind of stuck for a while where we had all these just amazing guys in the top like 8 and all they wanted to do was fight each other. And then we had these amazing prospects in 7 to 15 and they had to keep fighting each other instead of, you know.
See, I'd agree with that. There's only one little thing I don't agree with there. Like I do believe in order for you to create a good roster that people want to watch, you need to put them with people who are already legendary so that way they can build their own name. If you don't, you're just fighting people you've never heard of. So how do you know how good they are? Because you have no like litmus. You can't be like, well, I love this guy fighting and this guy I've never heard of. Oh, he beat him. Oh man, how did that happen? But the problem is that UFC quite often will take guys who are completely retired and go, you know what? We want you to be the main event. And they'll pass up all of these undefeated guys so that way they can have the legend go back up and fight for a title shot. Meanwhile, let's say hypothetically that guy who's undefeated winds up getting a fight. And now the roster has changed. And so now we're left with all these interim fights because the guy comes back, wins the title, and it's like, you know what? I don't really want to do this anymore. I just wanted money. I think what we should do less of is allow that. I think that me personally, because I'm a dick, I think that once you leave, get to the back of the line. You can fight your way back up. If you're a legend and you were already there, hey, I'll give it to you in 3, like they did with Brock Lesnar. But if not, you're going to have to fight your way back up and do it again. If you wanted to keep fighting for money, keep fighting for money. If you don't, take an exhibition match. Do like the BMF belt thing where you're like, oh, this is fun because these guys are legendary, but don't put them back to the front of the line because you want to put asses in seats. Because fighters have such a short-lived career that every time you pass them up, they might not get that chance. And I can't name how many fighters have lost the opportunity for a title shot because they were skipped up by somebody who was retired and came back. I don't think that's fair. If I was going to go to any other sport, it'd be tough cookies. But combat sports is like, oh, well, you know, I know you earned it, but this guy's going to get it anyway because he's going to make us more money. Try that with baseball. You get 2 people and you're like, oh, man, you're going to play for the World Series. You not so much. We like this other team, but that team's like 1-14. Nah, but they're going to make us money. Like, I just don't think personally that.
And the reason why is because in baseball or football, winning equals money. Like, and it's 100%. That doesn't always translate to MMA. Winning doesn't always equal money because there's not teams. Like, it's not like, okay, your team makes more money if you win the Super Bowl. Yeah, obviously that makes sense. There's not teams. So it's like, okay, well, if we have two boring guys, Shavkat Rachmanov is a perfect example. He's very underrated for where he's at. And this is definitely his opportunity to shine over a big name for sure. But very few people know who he is because he doesn't talk a lot. And like, even though he finishes guys, there's just nothing that catches your eye about Shavkat, which is crazy because he's so talented. But he has to develop himself, his personality, whatever it is, to be able to make money, which is so, I agree with you. It's wild.
I just wish more people, instead of them crapping on the Paul brothers when they did, should have just paid attention when they were putting on a clinic of how to make money. Like, everybody was like, oh, they're not real fighters. Dude, they made more than you in one fight than in your entire career. So just listen, watch what they're doing, and just mimic that, and you could be a real fighter who also makes money. Like, just my opinion.
No, I agree. And and me and Elf had this awesome debate and conversation about like Jake Paul, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Connor, like, because I love those guys because what they do is when they get the eyes, right? But then everyone underneath them gets more eyes and gets more money, and they pay everyone and all that stuff. So I love that. But the one thing I would say with the Paul brother example, they had such a lineage of history of YouTube and their social media and all that. And usually fighters, Grant Dawson doesn't have a YouTube channel before he doesn't win big in the UFC like that. I do get what you're saying on that, but like usually a lot of those guys need to come from some other back end to get to that point to make it mainstream in the fight game. But
that's a decision. That's their personal decision, not to use free platforms to make free personality money. Like,
I will say though, it's hard to do both. Like, I know how much time it takes to build content. That plus the full time of training, plus the full time of cutting weight. I think it's difficult to do both at the same time. I think that's why you see guys wait until they have a little bit of money, and it's like, okay, now I can pay this guy to follow me around with a camera and edit for me and do all this time consuming work.
And I think that's a perk of having a good training camp, like having people in your corner, because a lot of guys when they're first starting off, like they're all making no money, like, but they can support each other. It's like, hey, dude, can you hold this camera while I do this thing for me? Like, if you live in the gym, like, take that 5 minutes to make sure that you're putting together a little bit of promo for yourself. But, it's a trick. It's not easy. It's a very hard business. And I think most people join the business because they just like fighting. So, like, they don't give a damn about the rest. And
they don't want to be famous, but you almost have to be if you want to be a 1%er.
Yeah. Before we let you go, brother, shout out the social, shout out the website again, book, all those good plugs. Shout them out, my man.
For sure. Check out my book, Sensei's Bars and Scars. You can get it on Amazon. And if you like it, please leave a review. You can go to McDojoLife.com if you've heard of anybody in your area who has done anything nefarious like rape, fraud, murder, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Send in proof. I'll double check and I'll add them to the registry so that way we can keep the martial arts clean. You can also check me out at McDojoLife on pretty much every social media except for Reddit, because somebody took that name. So you can check me out on the McDojoLife, because that guy who had actual McDojoLife, I can't wait to find them because you suck. But that's it.
Awesome, man. Dude, so much. We appreciate this. That was awesome that Elle can really link this up. And, dude, hopefully we'll have you again soon in 2024. We'll see you next year.
I love it, man.
We're doing that.
I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, brother. We'll see you soon, dude. Thank you so much.
Later.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. There we go. Dude, what a great show, Elle.
Wow. I didn't even see the time. We
are 8 minutes overdue, but it's all good. You know us. We can go on forever in a weird way. Dude, I think, did you finish? So we did Fight of the Year. We did that. Upset of the Year.
Upset of the Year is obviously Sean Strickland.
Strickland against Adesanya. There's just nothing. It was amazing. No one going into that fight. Everyone thought that was so perfect for Adesanya, that whole pay-per-view, Australia. That was like a setup win for Izzy and for Strickland to get the job done, and how he did it. It wasn't just a flash knockout. It was a 5-round dominant, win. So hats off to Sean Strickland, the fighter of the year also.
Heck yes. Oh, guys, Immortals Fight Club is having a big Twitter space tonight. Go to our Twitter. Come hang out with us, 8 p.m. Eastern. It is your last chance to buy a Genesis pass before we close the mint for good. So for people who don't know, Immortals Fight Club, we're an MMA-based NFT project. We've got some really, really cool collections coming next year. We have a game coming next year. But if you want to be in the community early and get lots of cool perks, you need a Genesis pass. So come to our Twitter space tonight, hang out with us, and mint your NFT.
How can people find Immortals Fight Club on socials?
Immortals Fight Club NFT on Instagram, Immortals Fight Club on Twitter, pretty much just Immortals Fight Club everywhere. It is in my Instagram bio. If you're really having trouble, my Instagram is right here in the bottom corner by my face, @theruthless_Elle Dawson. So if you still can't find us on Instagram or Twitter, go to my link tree in my bio of my Instagram.
Beautiful. There we go, guys. Thank so much, Maddie Levine, for being on the first hour. Pearl Gonzalez guest, our every weekly guest, Gillian the Savage Robertson in the second hour, and then just McDojoLife just now. Appreciate them so much. We did it. I think this has been our sixth or seventh week. Fight Bananas show, 2 hours every Tuesday. I can't wait to see what happens next with this kind of show and idea and brand, what platform it's going to be on, and so on and so on. And yeah, dude, imagine if we did this just every day, Elle. Imagine just 2 hours every single day. That would be insane.
That's a busy week.
I know. people that do it, like, they have no idea. It's absolutely insane. But Elle,
I'm gonna miss you guys for the next couple weeks.
I know. We will as well. It's gonna be nuts. Yeah, we're gonna go away for a couple weeks. We'll be back on the Tuesday in the January. But tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Ben and Bananas live on Facebook. We'll be going live to preview UFC 296. That's where we get into the details and betting odds of who's going to win and why you should bet on Ian Gary in the second round, or should you get Leon Edwards. I did there's a end still parlay at plus 250. Pantoja and Leon Edwards comes out at plus 250. I like that. I call that the end still parlay. So there we go. And then we might have a special guest tomorrow night. Elle, is that true?
We might.
Okay.
It'll be confirmed later.
All right, there we go. So I love it. That's how we do things here at Fight Bananas. But Elle, you're the best. We appreciate you. I gave everyone else their flowers. I definitely got to give you your flowers. Fight Bananas will not be where it's at without you. And I can't wait. It has been an amazing 2023. It has been amazing. And it just like sets everything up for what could be in 2024. So it's going to be awesome.
I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome.
Very cool. All right. Elle Dawson, I'm Dave Van Auken, Fight Banana Show Live, our longest one, 2 hours and 12 minutes. We did it. We're out of here. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a good time with their family. And we'll see you guys next year.